quote
Our
unquote.
did not catch our fascinating talk about doorstops.
We will fill everybody in later on the importance of the doorstop in the film industry. So as a recap from our last game, you guys managed to make your way to the Cave of Death on P2X 543.
I wanted a cave of wonders, damn it.
Yeah. En route, you encountered some strange frog, bat, scorpion creatures that you managed to thwart and thankfully not get poisoned in the process. But in the cave itself, you took out a couple of Jaffa that were standing guard. Made your way inside, found a bunch of dead bodies that were Jaffa that belonged to Arwan or Aron, and waiting for you, it seems, was a who appeared to be the first prime of Bave.
Does that, in retrospect, does that make us feel really bad of the two ghouls who are outside that we absolutely killed to get inside?
Nah,
They were there for that reason.
They're expendable.
they're enemy combatants.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know why you have to keep ending people's lives, but if it's what you must do, I'll try not to get shot.
But we found a zombie making machine.
Yes, you did find. He essentially extended an invitation to you. Said that Bave is going to be on the planet Magtarath for 1 week. If you have any questions after you're done examining, and he gestured to the sarcophagus that was behind him that had been very obviously modified. Deciding not to press the issue with him since he was completely non-aggressive, he passed on the gate address to Magtarath and left. Examining the sarcophagus, though, you find my episode notes. You realize that it had been modified and it seemed to be consuming significantly less power than a conventional sarcophagus. But not wanting to take the time to examine it here, you called in a retrieval team who safely got it back to Phoenix Site. There was some debate upon, whether or not the sarcophagus was worth using. Ares made his position very, very clear that his people would absolutely positively never use it. But he didn't put up any strong reason why anybody else couldn't use it.
Until
So as Doyle and the engineers and some of the scientists got to work on it over the course of the week while you're kind of biding your time, kind of trying to figure this out to see what sort of questions you may have for Bave. The sarcophagus primarily seems to have been reconfigured to rejuvenate only parts of the body. The ones that are absolutely necessary for physical functionality, but very little in the way of brain activity. Because of these shortcuts, the power requirement is significantly lower. It doesn't even require a Naquadah generator. Doyle is pretty sure he could probably jury-rig this to run off a car battery. There is some sort of almost like programming an organic computer. There's some sort of programming that happens during the process that essentially turns the rejuvenated body into little more than an organic robot rather than a thinking being.
Is there a way of shutting off that component in the machine?
That is what you were looking for. Is you were looking for to see whether there was a way that you could, if these rejuvenated bodies are in fact organic robots, you wanted to see if there was a way that you could shut down the programming or disrupt the programming, almost like introducing a virus into it. All of which caused Ares and I believe Sam to equate the sarcophagus with an item called the Pyre Didani, or the Cauldron of Rebirth, or the Black Cauldron. A device in Welsh mythology that seemingly created armies from the bodies of the dead.
I seen that movie when I was much younger.
So that's essentially what you have managed to deduce out of this sarcophagus. Is it still serves its original purpose of healing injuries, even bringing people back from the dead, but at a very, very significant reduction in functionality. With that, the invitation from Bave to Mag Tareth, she'll be there for a week. Sam hit the Ash Archives to see what she could dig up on the planet. Discovered that it was once the seat of power for Baelor. It's where he trained his Jaffa, where he had his shipyards. It was very much the seat of his power. When he was overthrown, the resulting war basically devastated this planet. It is a harsh wasteland, probably will be atmosphere free within the decade. Nothing grows on it anymore. Food needs to be imported. But when Baelor died and his holdings were divided up amongst those who usurped him, Morrigan got this planet. And Bave is basically working as a major domo for her sister, kind of overseeing the troops, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I have questions and thoughts about what those are. Like I would, one of the things I wanted to look at rolling for this one was, so what's the power dynamic here, and who should I be ingratiating myself more to, Morrigan or Bade?
You can definitely give me a culture roll for that.
We'll definitely do that. Culture, no advantage, I suspect.
No.
Protoculture.
I do have a thing I can declare afterwards. Hold on. I think I can do that on this one. Let me just take a look here. I need to look at that thing that I can do. I believe I have my... oh no, I don't have it. Well, I don't have any Eureka points, so never mind.
In retrospect, haha, Robotech reference. Let's keep going.
See, I hear protoculture, and then I think proto-molecule, and then I think the Expanse.
Did I pass the 12 or no?
A 12 will get you some information, but it's not considered a pass for purposes of a Eureka point.
Yay, Eureka point.
I'm
gonna collect those like candy.
But your understanding is that Morrigan is definitely in a position of power. Like, Baylor's holdings were extensive enough that the three that divided them up each had enough holdings to basically become a system lord unto themselves. Like, his holdings were extensive.
Right.
So Morrigan is a system lord. She's relatively new, but she is a system lord, which has its own, kind of political clout that comes with that.
How does Arwen fit into this puzzle?
You don't know. Like, up until his name came up when you were on the planet, you've heard the name in passing, but never with any title or anything associated with it.
Right. So the mad scientist is involved somehow. We just don't know how yet.
Exactly.
But they were at. But Spade's troops attacked and destroyed his followers?
Yes, they did. So the other thing is, from what you know, Bave is she's a soldier. She's not a leader. She's not a general. She's not a she's not a brilliant strategist or skilled at deception and diplomacy like other Gold are. She is a frontline fighter. So she is not. If she has any plans or machinations, they're probably not going to be as subtle as some of the other as the others would be. Doesn't mean they're not there. She is still a Goa'uld, but she's just not super good at it.
Or it's just to lure us into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
But with a 12, you're not sure what exactly the power dynamic is like between the two of them. Is there anything else in particular anybody would like to do during this little bit of a downtime?
Does is there anything useful or gained from the fact that we have or anything to be learned from the set of coordinates we got?
They are 100% coordinates to Magtareth. Like they line up, like with the actual galactic address of it. So it's not like you're being sent spinning off into a black hole or to the far reaches of space or anything like that. They line up with the coordinates that are in the Ash archive.
So really, the question becomes: what planet are we going to gate to there?
And that's a question whether you want to go directly there or not.
Not going directly there. I recommend we go back to that planet we just came from and gate from there.
And I
purge
recommend
our address.
And we can send a malp before stepping in.
I mean, they have like offered us hospitality. The likelihood of us getting murdered at the gate is fairly low.
It's still existent. You trust them?
I did not say I trusted them. I said the likelihood of us being murdered at the gate was low.
Okay, so I think it is incredibly important that we discuss the GDO situation if we are going there. We will have a window to return, a very tight window, and we are not taking a GDO with us, and we are expected to return within that window.
Which
Will
means
we have a secondary window in case of shit hits fan?
We are going into a gold stronghold. We know that they have the ability, that golds in general have the ability to, when they get their hands on people, to brainwash and or mind control someone, which might give them the ability to use the GDO. So
Was there a third location where we could meet if something happens and we can't make the first meeting? It does not need to be at Phoenix site.
I mean, we can try to contact from another site.
But
I
even
think
then, I mean, even at Phoenix site, if we make it in time, let's have full security here. Who knows what could have happened?
so. You're saying no matter what, we should always dial to another place.
Yes.
I would.
Why not?
Fair?
I think
You know
our
what?
rendezvous should actually be. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but if we use the ruins on the last planet we were on as our
I
meeting
agree.
point, then we are one. It'll be we know we only the five of us know where that is. We will be harder to betray that way, and if one of us is captured and enthralled by one of the Goa'uld, then at least there'll be 4 of us there to stop whatever's coming.
Yeah, that's fair. In addition, we have run into a gate before that has taken incoming addresses. So if we dial to Morgan's, it is Morgan that we're going to see, right?
It's
Oh, yeah.
It's Babe that you're going to
Babe.
see, but it's
Sorry.
Morgan's planet.
Right. So if we're going to Morgan's planet to meet Babe and it happens to have that setup, we don't want to give the location of the Phoenix site. So we are going to be dialing for someone else. What's giving us?
And it's possible they have that technology because it has been a Goa'uld stronghold for a long time.
Right. So we are going to dial from another gate.
100. I would have it no other way.
Yeah, and
Our goal with this meeting.
yeah, when you guys arrived at the previous planet, Sam and Dora both gave the DHD or they're the once over, and you know that one has no tracking capability.
That's fair. We just don't know Morgan's planet. So if we dial it from the Phoenix site, it would suck.
Well, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know absolutely that they can't backtrack you all the way.
Yeah. It would be impossible to do something like that, to know where gates are going.
Sure, impossible.
Right.
At least in season 1, that's usually like a season 3 twist.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Well, at least they didn't give us the coordinates to a black hole.
That's right. Adria.
Not currently a black hole. We don't know what the plans are for the planet after we're done.
No matter.
Do we have orders?
Find out what she knows. Find out what she wants. Goa'uld doesn't do anything without getting something in return. We'll leave it to the team to determine whether her offer of alliance is viable or not. I know Hammond turned her down flat. But
do we know the details of that arrangement before he turned it down? Did she even have a chance to offer anything?
She didn't have a chance to offer anything.
So we at least want to see the terms before we say no.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more. I want to know what she's hoping to get and what she's willing to offer.
Right, like there's a difference between I won't get in your way if you don't get in my way concerning this particular conflict, and we all agree these people need to die, versus us pledging some sort of fealty. Those are very different things.
Absolutely.
Those are exceptionally different things.
If she's as unusually straightforward as may be, I can see the potential for a essentially non-interference type agreement with bounds, but that could also be far too optimistic.
General,
Yes.
do we have the leeway to agree to anything on our own?
Use your judgment, Major. Don't get us entangled in something that we're not willing to see through.
We should perhaps offer them a Swiss bank account.
What is a Swiss bank account?
I think I had that Tari reference incorrect. We should be like Switzerland.
Neutral?
We
That's
should
the
definitely
one,
not
yeah.
be like Switzerland. Our goal here is to stop the Goa'uld's naked and wanton despoiling.
Rapacity.
Remember that Switzerland is full of Nazi gold.
Yeah.
Or not
Rapacity is a
Switzerland.
good rate. Yeah, see what she has.
I will caution you, Major, that you are going to have to curb some of your more Goa'uld hating opinions while we are there, especially while we're.
Out of all of us, I think that the Tok'ra hate the Goa'uld more than I do, right? So I think I'm second in line.
I have been trained for thousands of years to be a spy amongst the Goa'uld, and thus you've noticed how well I adapt to their mannerisms. You, however, do not.
Perhaps it could be better said that the Goa'uld have centuries of hatred towards the Tok'ra.
I'm not sure if that reference checks out.
Well, I mean, is that going to be an issue? If you show up there, are they simply going to say, holy crap, you're a Tok'ra? Period.
They, as far as I am aware, none of the Goa'uld know that I am Tok'ra.
So
if that comes up, well, that will be a very interesting day, and we will definitely be leaving by the gate very quickly. But my cover is still intact, as it has been for years.
My analogy does check out, for we would have to leave just quickly.
Look.
If they discover that I am in fact a Tok'ra, yes. However, that...
General, normally in diplomatic missions, we don't go armed. I would rather this be an exception to that courtesy.
I will leave that to your discretion. There's no denying that you are going into hostile territory.
I will, as ever, be unarmed, though. Thank you, Major, for the concern.
Should they ask us to disarm, Major, what is your plan?
Oh, we're going to ask the same of them.
In their own house?
Well, if they don't mean us any harm.
I'm just...
They've got armies at their beck and call. What is it going to change if they become unarmed?
Exactly. It's a simple show of good... It means they'll at least have to reach for something before they try to kill us.
Or make a call to a death glider.
Or if you want a show of diplomacy, maybe limit ourselves to sidearms.
If we do need to leave quickly because the Tok'ra is going to be kidnapped, I'd rather have my P90 than my sidearm.
Me too.
Will it make too much of a difference? Probably not. Depends on how far we are from the gate.
I am reasonably sure we will have a fairly smooth time there if they're just there to talk.
Do the Goa'uld have any scanners to try to detect Tok'ra?
You can't detect it in the same way that you would be able to detect a Russian or a Siberian or Chinese. Tok'ra is we are not a different race. We are still Goa'uld. We are just a different faction of Goa'uld.
So,
we oppose Ra.
So the Tory go to meet the Goa'uld, and they're being accompanied by a Goa'uld.
Yes.
You have a backstory. You have a cover story. Is there anything that we need to know to help you maintain your cover?
Well, no, other than that, the current cover is that I was ISIS's consort, and I have fallen out of favor.
Would Ares not have to reveal himself through the various Goa'uld look at me, I am a god manifestations, though?
I have that.
No, or do they inherently know? Or does it require manifestation?
I mean, if I show my eyes go white. That is plenty.
I'm simply stating, do we have to go in with them knowing that you're a Goa'uld at all?
No, but I suspect their first prime has let them know that I am clearly not Tari.
Look, we'll deal with
I no mark on my head, so I'm not Jaffa. I guess I could be a freed people.
Our mission.
There are many of those.
Our mission objective is relatively straightforward and clear. We are showing up. They are taking us to a table. They are taking us to their representative, because I don't know if we're going to meet Bave themselves.
We will be meeting Bave.
What do you have to offer? And then we come back.
Sure. There is no room for failure in that succinct observation.
If it does anything more than that, it doesn't matter what we think of in this room. We will have to deal with that situation as it arrives.
Is there a code word, Major, you'd like me to be able to share with the rest of you that will tell you somewhat secretly that things are going, how you would say, south?
I mean, do they know what fuck means? Because I could yell
Yeah.
out.
I feel like fuck is universal across most languages if you're in the military.
Fair.
So you need a kinky safe word.
Typically, safe words are not kinky, so that you don't say those during the act mistakenly, but however you want to put it.
Pineapple is an exotic
Pineapple.
fruit on
Yes.
Earth.
I am a fan of the order of the uncut pineapple. I am understood of this late 1800s Louisiana culture involving guest rights and hospitality. This fits well.
Yes, and I feel like there are not many pineapples outside of Earth. It's distinctive enough. We can sneak it into conversation.
And if we see a literal pineapple and the word's used, we'll probably know it's contextual if it's
Yes.
And not referring to the euphemism pineapples that the lieutenant often carries with his explosives.
No.
They're actually
Or on my
round.
shirts.
The pineapple ones have been used in like decades.
However, I have heard the nickname still bantered about.
So it's day 6 now. I think that we don't make them wait to day 7.
No. We should go.
Why not? Why not make them wait?
We are making them wait to day 6. That's today. I think making them wait to day 7 is
Something may have come up and they're not there.
whatever.
Or worse, they feel insulted that we made them wait the entire week.
6 feels like enough of a...
Ha, those cowardly Tory taking all this caution.
Let's go forward. So, gate room, 20 minutes. Let's suit up.
All right. So just a couple of things that you guys would be aware of. One main thing you'd be aware of. The gate room at Phoenix site actually has a means of detecting a symbiote, but that is expressly Tok'ra technology. That is not standard Goa'uld technology.
No, that would be Tok'ra stuff.
Yeah. So, as far as you know, you don't have to worry about anybody detecting the symbiote. It's just a question of whether or not, the first prime has told anybody.
Yeah, maybe I should leave my Zatar detector back here.
Just in
that
case.
Is definitely a Tok'ra thing, and that's definitely like, where did you get one of those? Oh, I killed a Tok'ra for it. I don't think they're gonna play that game.
Are you going to take a
leave the?
Are you going to take a staff weapon?
Oh, I'm gonna take the Matok, absolutely. But I'm gonna hand my Zatark detector to Sam because in the event, it's still a good thing to have that you can tell if someone's been the victim of Goa'uld mind manipulation. But it would be a good thing for you to have.
Let's say we get captured. Do we want to give that technology to the Goa'uld?
Or we leave it here, and it's in the bar under the register.
How about we bury it at the control site for the rings on P3X?
Sure, let's do that.
P9K4, P2X543.
Can we just call it Zombie World?
You can.
Zombie World.
Great.
I mean, it doesn't actually have a name, so... The other thing, I remember last session, Doyle wanted to start working on a way to override the Black Cauldron's programming.
Yes.
Either that or remove the module that screws with people's brains.
Yeah, removing the module from the sarcophagus is pretty easy, but you can also start the engineering department on what's called basically downtime research and development. So
Okay.
periodically over time, you can start working on a kind of a larger scale project.
Cool. So let's be working on that.
Perfect. Just give me a second to look up my book. You can also incidentally do smaller scale research and design. So if you're like, hey, we keep getting shot, we should probably find some sort of like impact resistant plating and stuff like that. You can do smaller projects that'll basically last for like a session.
Yeah, but this one that could potentially heal bullet wounds sounds nice.
All right. So you're going to need to get a number of successes equal to twice the tech level of the object.
Okay.
And essentially, you get to make a roll at the end of every interval, and the interval for this would be weekly.
Okay.
So
How can we help?
Basically, those of you that are helping will give him advantage on the engineering.
Woohoo!
I'll help.
You said per week, right? So there's no way that this is resolved before we go.
No.
Okay.
Basically, this is the sort of R&D that like Sam gets up to and then pulls out the Deus Ex Machina thing in like the season finale.
From a medical standpoint, would we be able to research the possibility of re-jump starting those non-self thinking brain?
Probably not the brain, but one of the other things is when these bodies get rejuvenated, a lot of their nerve endings are dead, so these things don't feel pain, they don't go down as easily as they should. That you could probably get a workaround on.
Okay.
So it's engineering with advantage.
Yes, engineering with advantage for you.
Because I'm just thinking that's totally in Treyu's route to try and see about helping recover these poor bastards somehow.
Yes, absolutely. And you're pretty sure, like, a fully functional sarcophagus could bring the body back fully. But kind of in the field, there's not a whole lot you can do regarding the brain function. But to make it a little bit easier, because that is it is, like, if their nerves aren't firing, then you're not going to be able to really knock them unconscious or tranquilize them or anything other than, like, probably, like, a fair amount of dismemberment.
Yeah, very brutal crippling or fatal result.
Right, but you can definitely start work on a way to basically get around that deadened nerve sensation to see if you can't start coming up with a way to basically overwhelm them to the point where you can render these things non-combat capable. So that would be a medical role.
While he's doing the role, what would happen if a healthy body went into the sarcophagus as it was?
Your engineers tell you that's probably a very bad idea.
You can try with a mouse or a rat.
Do we want to create zombie rats? No, I feel like this is a bad idea.
Okay. All right. So both Doyle and Trey, you just make note someplace that you have each achieved one success on your respective R&D project.
Okay.
Off we go to the gate room.
Yeah. So basically during the week, you guys get your respective departments, up and running, kind of like, this is what we need to do, general lawyer is willing to throw out what limited resources they have. For on Treyu's team, there are a fair number of Arturan medics who can aid and assist, especially because several of them I can't remember off the top of my head the name of the right, but the right to bring back the dead.
Yes, the one I know.
Yeah. So they do have some experience ish in this area, so they definitely will be pitching in to help.
It's simply called the Ritual of Life.
Oh, okay. I thought it had a fancier name for some reason.
It probably has a better Nox name, but that's just the name attached to it in the system.
Perfect. All right. Other than that, everybody can gear up and make their way to the gate room.
And again, we're going to P2X543. And Eris, are you willing to leave your Zetark detector at the ring site on that planet and hide it, and then we come back here anyway?
Yes.
Out of character question, who needs a better armor?
And we had this discussion last week, Eris.
Yep. We need to have it every time, and we've got more people this week.
My armor class is 15 currently.
Because of the +1?
No, because the
Ooh, nice.
I'm wearing a bulletproof vest underneath my robes. I'm wearing the bullet resistant vest.
The medic who would pass on it anyway is 17.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely need it.
So let's give a +1 to the Tok'ra.
Woohoo! Armor class 16.
And it doesn't stack, right? It's not from
No.
one week to the next. Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's one person between long rests, and it's +1.
And it lasts until the next long rest, I see.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at the next long rest, I can decide to give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Or the same.
I think balancing it out makes sense here.
Yeah, and it seems to me, I think that particular feat you could take more than once, and then you can give it to more than one person during the long rest.
Yeah.
Is there a slight music going on?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the mission music.
Mission music. A while back, Humble Bundle had this. Hey, for $35 Canadian, here's 400 tracks of completely free, no DRM, use as you see fit music.
Was that the Humble Bundle?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a second one, but there was some neat stuff in those.
So I was like, I will definitely pick that up.
Yeah, their DRM free ones are usually pretty cool, actually.
So I mean, I use it for Star Trek, I use it for my Conan game. I don't use it for Twilight 2000 because Free League does their own game-specific soundtracks, which is awesome. All right, so everybody gears up. Doyle, you give Ares a couple little pointers on how better to like kind of cinch the armor up, make sure the plates are in the proper protective areas, things of that nature. And then when you guys are ready, you whoosh through the gate.
To P2X543.
Yes.
So over the last week, have we gotten any feedback here? Have the villagers that we brought back, were they able to go back, or are they now housed on the Phoenix site? Actually,
They are housed on the Phoenix site, and basically the home program is working on finding a planet to take them in. Essentially, they are refugees at this point.
okay.
Completely displaced.
But during the time, actually, on Treyu, you would have noticed that as part of like the routine kind of physical checkup that they have to go through, since you weren't present for the last session, you were dealing with them, getting them settled and everything. So you do know that they do seem to exhibit higher than normal electromagnetic activity in their brains. Probably ties into the gifts of the gods that they have.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember us touching on that when we were looking into it initially.
So they didn't lose their telepathic powers when they came?
They did
still
not.
have
They still
Okay.
have them.
No, the genetic manipulation is still there.
No,
Yes.
it's. I thought I was wondering if it was a mix of genetic and environmental at one point in time. So
No, it seems to be entirely on the genetic level. And you also find that some of the compounds in extracts of the cocoa plant interfere with that.
Yeah, definitely make sure that everyone on base that needs to know that is aware of that.
But yeah, other than that, they seem to settle in. They seem, maybe it's because of their kind of latent empathic and telepathic abilities. Maybe they're just generally like a down to earth type of people, but they've kind of accepted this, what's happened with a fair amount of grace, and they
Hey, we're not dead. Our overlords aren't as demanding.
yeah. And yeah, they seem to acclimatize fairly quickly.
Okay.
Yes, a social telepathic network would go a long way towards dealing with culture shock and shifts like that.
Yes.
So we drop off everything we need to at the ring control place.
All right.
And then we head to the gate to P9K429.
Wow, this ring doesn't look like it may have been bombarded directly with death lasers.
Not at all.
This does not seem as welcoming.
So as you come through the gate on Magtarath, it is warm. Like not necessarily uncomfortably warm, but it is definitely warm and arid.
Desert.
And it takes you a couple of minutes to kind of catch your breath. You have to take a moment to just breathe a little bit deeper. Like the atmosphere here it's not so thin as to be dangerous, but it is quite thin.
No, I could see me taking a few moments to have to acclimate being a swamp/jungle/forest dweller.
Yes, this is so far outside your comfort zone.
I'm like a reverse Vulcan visiting Vulcan.
Is this area guarded?
It does not seem to be guarded, but you are in probably about a 20-meter deep crater.
With nothing growing, it's essentially a potential killing field.
Imagine if we look up that you'd see something in orbit.
Give me a perception check, whoever would like to take a look up.
Sure.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'm more interested in finding the dial.
There.
Hey,
There's
to counter that,
a story of opposites right there.
yeah, to counter
saw
that
the
one, I
Yeti.
got a 20, so my total's 24.
Someone saw a Yeti like last time.
And Cherry's like, oh my god, there's like heat shimmer. What the hell?
Yeah, and Treyu, like, it's uncomfortable to begin with, but then when you look up, you get like vertigo momentarily. You're just like, no.
No.
Sam, when you look up, the first thing that your kind of, your astrophysicist's brain clocks is that the star, the sun, seems to be relatively close. Probably accounts for the heat. But kind of like silhouetted against the sun. That's a shipyard.
Huh. That's interesting.
And you can see it from the ground? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, like as in starships, not spaceships, probably.
Yeah, correct. It's a
spaceships you can make on Earth. Starships need to be made in space. They're not meant for atmosphere, and they are huge.
Yeah, the Utopia Planitia, the orbital yards as opposed to the planetary.
Exactly, right? So the whole thing is that it's huge if you can see it from the ground looking up.
Right, and it's basically a spaceport with a number of various states of completion starships. So, multiple mile long vehicles.
Let's put it in a tiny bit of perspective. The International Space Station is still considered large, but the only thing you can see on naked eye is a dot. If you're able to make out that it's a shipyard, this thing is freaking huge.
Yep.
Yep.
To be fair, one of like the construction arms on most space shipyards is the size of the International Space Station. The
And
construction arm.
we're also in a thinner atmosphere as well, and it's occluding the sun.
Yeah.
So there's a couple factors, but it's still unnaturally large to us. So there's going to be something like, huh,
That's no moon.
that's
Chris,
interesting.
are these
Possibly.
were those here with Baylor, or are those inherited or new? I guess is the question I'm asking.
Those are inherited from Baylor.
Okay, cool. So, I will then respond with those aren't new.
Still useful knowledge to know about them.
Harris,
Oh,
motherships. How many motherships can something like that build a year?
That would be a culture.
Yeah, I got that.
That's
I
why
got
he
that
asked
culture.
Ares.
So they chose this
Yep.
planet as a show of force.
Well, there's
Boom.
that thought process, sort of
Nice.
it's sort of like the secondary thought of, and how many planets do you decimate?
Hold on, what did I roll?
1.
A 1.
Ooh,
But
I feel like I can do something about that.
Well, I mean, come on, Eureka, come on.
Out of curiosity, my sort of initial reaction to is how many can they build a year is sort of the follow-up question of is how many planets do you have to decimate to make them, which I don't know if the engineer has any thoughts on.
Well, my guess is minimum 1, and I wave my hand around this desolate plane.
I thought this was desolate more from bombardment and war rather than strip mining like you would for Matryoshka Brain or Dyson Sphere.
I expect we'll find areas of stripping.
both are possible.
Yeah.
Now, is there a DHD?
Yes, there is.
Is it working?
Yes.
Good.
But what?
Are you gonna put your little your sniffer on it?
Since I was taking a look, give me an investigation check.
Who?
Doyle.
Okay.
I will assist Doyle by looking at the gate in a distracting fashion in case there are people watching us.
Gotcha.
Does that give advantage?
Yes. Yep. It does.
Chris, while they're doing that, investigating the DHD, I just want to crest the crevice just so I can see if there's anything around us.
All right. So Nat starts kind of scrabbling up the side there while Ares and Doyle take a look. The DHD is fully functional, fully intact. Doesn't have any weird attachments or anything to it that you've seen before. But judging from the way the gate is situated and stuff like that, you can tell since you rolled super high there with the 24. This gate was moved here relatively recently.
Would I know anything about how much of of what it involves to actually move a gate?
Ton of slaves or a ship.
Okay, that's fair.
Lots of people.
Yeah, so a gate doesn't fit inside another gate, so it needs to be flown there.
Yep. Or you get a whole bunch of slaves and you cart it.
Or former slaves to take a hole and throw it into.
Yeah.
But does it affect the coordinates in any way?
Not enough to matter. Like if you move the gate off world, that'll fuck up the coordinates.
Right. We're within error of we're within a reasonable error.
Yeah.
So there was a situation where there was a mothership that came to Earth that had a gate, and it supplanted the gate on Earth. So there's all kinds of weird. There's all kinds of weird, wacky way that gates interact with each other that when they're within a planetary sphere.
Yeah, the Antarctic gate wasn't fully operational at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically,
There is
I'll-
It would make sense that when they bombarded this place, they put a new gate in.
Yeah, I was going to say, similarly, Universe does deal with the topic of stellar drift affecting coordinates.
Yes.
Yeah, and Aries, quite possibly, like if there was a gate here when this bombardment happened, that could have conceivably been destroyed, and they moved the new one in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely within the realm of possibility.
In the meantime, perhaps you should find out what other gate addresses this is dialed for later. While we're here.
We find
We
the
don't have
previous
that.
addresses.
Yeah, there's no way to tell what's been downloaded from here.
So, Alright.
So Nash, you kind of like scramble up the side here, and it's a, like I said, it's like about a 10-20 meter deep crater, but it is a crater, so it's like a steep slope up. It's not sheer sides. So you can kind of like, scramble up, as opposed to having to like, rock climb your way up.
Okay, but that implies that like no one uses this gate. Like there's no path. There's no like.
It's been put there recently.
The gate's a double killing field from a military point of view. So there's clearly a weapon sighted on it. Plus, if they chase us here, they can shoot down at us from multiple locations.
Well, and I guess they wanted to, in case we decided to send a bomb or something, it would be contained in the crater.
But as you kind of scan the horizon, it is just a dry, desolate wasteland. But you do see some mountains off in the distance, probably 10, 15 clicks away.
That's it. There's no welcome party. We showed up at the coordinates, and they're like, "Figure out where you need to go."
There's there is.
That does seem like their hospitality.
Yep. There's no welcoming party there. There is nothing.
no
It's also
ring
more
pad?
potentially deniable.
It might just have been a test to see if we were willing to discuss.
There's multiple factors at play here. There's no ring pad anywhere here, is there?
There is not.
Regardless, I believe that this planet would warrant some investigation regardless.
Doyle,
Yeah.
do you have anything that can tell us if there's like radio signals coming from a direction or anything, or electronic signals coming from a direction or anything?
Do I?
That's a good question.
Like, I guess finding if there's any radio signals could be easy, but
But
if
the
you want to
directions.
triangulate something, you need more than one data point.
You can raise your rifle over your head with one arm while you touch the filling in your tooth with your tongue to see if you channel.
One radio in each hand. That's 2 points.
You don't pick up any radio signals per se, but I assume at least one of you has binoculars.
Yes.
Oh yeah, multiple
I
of us have
definitely have
binoculars.
those.
So as you're scanning the horizon, you can see. I mean, because of the fact that it is flat and there's not a lot of intervening terrain. For those of you in the military, this like the crater, that's a pretty bad killing zone. But the fact that this is all just like wide open terrain does give you a little bit of the heebie-jeebies.
It's a flat desert Saskatchewan.
Yes.
I'm used to it. It's the sea.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
But yeah, like a good sniper could probably like get you from, maybe 2,000 meters away. It's kind of disconcerting, but as you're kind of like scanning the horizon, you do catch the glint of light off something at the base of that hill or mountain.
Okay, so that's where we thought things were going to be. So,
Well,
okay.
we knew when we showed up here that it was going to be kind of fucky. So here it is.
We're talking about like a good 3-4 hour hike that way.
In the desert heat.
Okay. Start going.
Ration your water, guys and ladies. and others.
I've come from a desert planet. This doesn't bother me.
All right. So I mean, you kind of carefully crust the top of the crater. Make a look around, and and Treyu, this is like you've never seen this much dry land at once. Like not just in the, oh, Haven has some dry land and stuff like that. You've never seen anything quite like this.
No, this feels like a dead world with so much dry land.
Yeah.
I'd say keep your eyes open, but if anything comes, we'll know an hour before it shows up.
It's more keep an eye, make sure to not just keep our eyes down.
Yeah. And Treyu, as you think about it, and it doesn't feel like a dead world. It definitely feels like a dying world. Like whatever it is that has happened here, this is not a natural evolution for this world, and this is a world that is still going through its death throes.
So, if you were to bomb a world to this level, the only use for it after this would be to strip mine it for ships, right?
Probably.
And Treyu will collect a little bit of the soil material while muttering a prayer to the Nox and the spirits.
And it's like a very like dry, crumbly clay under your fingers.
I'm keeping an eye, like if we have like radiation patches or whatever, like
Yep.
Super happy here.
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be like, I mean, everybody puts on the radiation patch, checks it periodically. Doesn't seem to be any issue there.
I mean, how do you? I get a nuke. I get
multiple orbital boost blasts.
Is it orbital blast? Was this like, I mean, because these people were talking about chemical and biological weapons, like we ran into these. Is this like pure physical bombardment? Or is this like some rampant, crazy terraforming gone terrible?
The atmosphere is thin like the air escaping a dying man's lungs. That's usually because the atmosphere has been disrupted.
So climate change.
Right, but if all the flora was going to die, that would cause an atmosphere change as well.
Well, if Baylor had a shipyard, he likely had a fleet in orbit that was destroyed.
Did they poison this place or bomb it to oblivion?
Well, when Treyu mentions the fact that Baylor had a shipyard here, probably a lot of ships. Ares, it clicks that there was like a massive battle here, and Baylor's mothership crashed right into the planet, and a mothership is freaking huge.
Oh, yeah, the mothership crashed into the planet. That would destabilize the environment quite thoroughly.
Possibly
like a starship crash, not a
the mothership, like the giant.
That's a world-ending type event.
Yeah, like it. They did not have a team of miners to cut the mothership in half before it hit the planet.
So would that even work?
I mean, no, but the analogy seemed sound.
So, and we're saying this as we're walking, right? So, if a mothership ever shows up on Earth, and we do manage to gather enough firepower to shoot it down, if it crashes on Earth, this would still happen?
If it's a surface crash.
Yeah,
if it's an ocean crash, it would still destabilize the environment for some time.
It would. Much of your planet is water. This planet was not mostly water, so there is that to have going for you. But yeah, my other non-human Tari friend is correct here. It destabilize your environment for sure.
Destabilizing the ocean isn't all that great either, particularly with the energy and heat that'd be entering the ocean. It would be severe climactic damage plus tsunamis. It would be world reshaping.
Yes, it'd still be cataclysmic. It just might not be the death knell of the planet.
I'm just
One-
wondering, a failing Naquadah reactor that's powering one of these ships, how much radiation does it give off when it's failing and breaking?
Nakoda gives off less radiation than your nuclear power.
It also has
Still-
the upside of once it goes, you won't realize it. And
Yeah, the upside is that if the Nakoda generator blows, you won't be around to figure out what it did. There are some banes and boons with using advanced technology, after all.
Chris, NASA is looking at the devastation here, looking at the shipyard above, and all he's thinking of is kamikaze runs and how Earth is so vulnerable it hurts.
Yep.
You do require your own starship on Earth. With the Tauris' entrance into the System Lord conflict, it is only a matter of time before ships start heading towards your sector.
I'm going to refrain from commenting because it sounds like it was an internal thought. If you decide to say something out loud, I may have thoughts, but I don't know if we want to get into philosophical discussions about basic Cold War and the loss of the potential enslaved population.
yeah, exactly.
Humans become more of a problem.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine the cost of building such a ship?
They have a shipyard above us. That means that they make more than one a year.
Sam's specific question was, how many planets do you have to basically disassemble in order to make one of those ships?
At the other point, it's a cost versus return. At a certain point, humans are going to be more annoying than the cost of building one of these ships.
That's the funny thing. When you use slave labor, your costs are super low.
It's
Your
more
labor
the
overhead is-
planets they might reside on and their own territory system lords.
Yes.
And as much as hide Earth, right?
Essentially, you're saying that everything will be decided by an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Being accountants and bean counters.
The bane of military existence.
Chris, I take some video of this during our 3 hour, however many hour long walk this is, of this absolute horrid wasteland to try to bring it into focus for the general. And I'm not going to say that NASA's humbled, but he's a little humbled here. I mean, he's always thought that the Gold have terrible technology and are able to do terrible things and enslave terrible people. But suddenly the idea of not being on the recipient end of a crashing ship has kind of like framed that context a little bit.
Perfect. All right.
I just realized I'm probably the only one that has. I actually have an out of character like one of my favorite books. This is a plot point, and so I was like, oh yeah, ship crashing. Of course, it destroys the Earth. Side note: because we are in this sort of situation, if you want to roll for it to be thought of, I would like to at least have some sort of masking over my face because this is dry, and I would like to not lose all of my moisture.
Yep. No, that's fine. You guys.
We have climate gear with us.
Yeah, you're either trained military, or you grew up on a desert planet, or you take pity on the guy that grew up on a swamp world and help him out. But yeah, you guys can easily get some bandanas and like camel packs for your water and all that stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, it is not entirely unpleasant walk. I mean, it's dry, hard packed dirt, so at least you're not like wading through sand or swamp or anything like that. And it's hot, but it's like a dry heat, so marginally more tolerable. I will get everybody though to give me a Constitution saving throw with advantage because of the precautions you've taken.
Chris, it's not an entirely miserable walk. We're just walking on a dying planet, like breathing its last breaths. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fine.
What's advantage when it's both 10?
Well, somebody almost
I
botched.
moved to 12.
This is what word? Sorry.
So I grew up on a
Constitution.
double advantage. How does that work?
Advantage only counts once.
I got a 14, it looks like.
You either have advantage or you don't.
Constitution, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's not terrible.
Okay. Perfect.
You rolled better than all of us.
Well, I didn't grow up on a desert planet.
I'm worried about that 4.
So as you start to approach the mountain, you can see that Antreyu is having some difficulty. Basically, you have one level of fatigue until you kind of get into some shade and
Okay.
get some water and stuff.
I'm good with survival, so I might have an idea that I'm starting to suffer from heat stroke.
Yeah. Actually, more heat exhaustion than heat
Yeah.
stroke. The less severe one.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but it sucks. We probably have, like, we can, if need be, kind of get sort of like a little shaded area. We go, take a poncho because we've got survival gear, put it up, get them sitting for a couple minutes, get some airflow at them.
Soak a cloth with the brow and then the suck on, just so I don't immediately indulge in all the moisture.
So you take a little bit of a timeout. So, you'll arrive at the city slightly later. But it's enough to indicate that, the planet could be dangerous to those who aren't prepared. And as a result, it probably makes sense to have the gate so far away from the settlement because it'll kind of weed out some issues.
It's an interesting defensive measure.
Or it's going to piss people off.
Either way.
I
But
mean, it's an interesting point because tactically, because you have spaceships, which means you can still move off world fairly easily, which means that your ring isn't your primary means of transport. So it doesn't need to be near key locations to make transportation easier. You don't need to have it near where you're fielding or housing your troops to intercept somewhere. You don't need to have it near raw materials to move it from one place to the other because you have your ships that are able to provide that. So it is both its requirement or its necessity as a focal point of transportation can be put to the side, and it's more thought of as a means where enemies will come from because it's not your primary means of transportation.
Yep. All right. So once you get Antreyu kind of like, back on his feet, continue on towards the base of the mountain. And as you get probably about a kilometer or so away from it, you can see that
This looks familiar.
You can see that there is actually a fortress-like structure at the base of this hill, and there are a couple of guards out front.
Is there movement along the top of the walls too? Like, is it always manned, or is it just two people at the front, and the entirety of these like murder holes are empty?
Give me a perception check.
I'm not good with perception, but nope. Just the two guys at the door.
Yeah, just the two guys at the door.
I mean, conversely, a failure could convince you that every single one of them is manned too.
I'll look at the major and like, would you like to talk to them this time?
No. Well, I do
Assume
want
we're
to talk to
that
them.
way.
I do want to talk to them, but I think you should take point here. That's why you're here, right?
Yes. Not for all of the drinking and singing. All right then. I'll sort of pull my veil off a little bit, walk up like I own the place.
All right. So the as you start to approach the two Jaffa at the gate, basically they activate their helmets, and that familiar kind of crow-shaped helmet snaps into place, and they stand with their matocks ready but not aimed at you.
for the same thing that I do. I take the safety off my P90, but I'm not aiming it at anyone. It's still strapped to me.
Do they make a move to stop me?
If you're walking right towards the front door, they will step in front of
Yeah,
you.
I'm walking towards them and I'm waiting for them to address me.
Is that how it works? I thought you guys addressed first.
Oh, I like, I'm just gonna give them a look like, don't stand in my way.
Who do you represent?
I am here with the Tari delegation.
He's with us.
I just said that.
Very well. Wait here.
It is possible that the dust and sand has clouded the hearing. Do you need to be checked?
No, I need a nail file. I look bored.
So one of them goes back inside. The other one, like, basically has their feet like kind of firmly planted. Nass and Doyle and Sam, you can tell just from the way that he's standing, he's ready for action.
There's not going to be any action.
Kind of look at the way like he kind of like shifts his feet and checks his balance, that sort of thing, make sure that he's on stable footing. And after a minute or two, a much larger delegation comes out.
I was gonna make a Dido crack, but I guess I don't have time.
So altogether, there's probably about 6 or 7 Jaffa hoods up. And then at the front of them is the first prime that you met in the Caves of Death.
We had his name, didn't we?
Owen, or Owain.
Owain. First prime, Owain. It is good to see you again.
Thank you. We're not sure that you would accept the invitation, but we are glad that you're here.
We also weren't sure if we were going to accept the invitation, but we are here.
Like, Eris looks back at you with like a, what?
And at least he didn't say was glad to be here.
Kind of like give him like the Spock eyebrow raise as you look back at him.
What are you doing? Anyway.
He's counter diplomacy.
Why are you trying to pick a fight with the first prime? Oh, we just got here. All right. I await the first primes.
How many are there? You said a much larger delegation. I know we're outnumbered by that description. Are we outnumbered 1.5 to 1 or 2 to 1 before we go into the Lion's Den?
Counting the first prime, there's about 8 of them.
Okay.
Given the fact that they're all Jaffa, you're outnumbered about 2 to 1.
I was going to say the first prime counts as 2. So.
Yeah. 2. Only 2.
Yeah, just 2.
I will say to the first prime, it is standard in Tari culture to use humor and mirth to diffuse tensions in a situation.
Oh, is that what they refer to by taking the piss?
Not now.
I see. I am woefully unfamiliar with the Tauri culture.
Well, I'm sure that after this, we will have many time for you to acclimate to Tauri culture. It is a interesting experience.
Very well. Come inside out of the heat. We have rooms ready for you to refresh. There's water. There is small refreshments. And
excellent. Thank you for welcoming us into your home.
It is a home away from home. And he kind of smiles.
Yep, of course it is.
She will grant you audience shortly, along with some of the other guests. I believe she plans to have a reception.
Excellent.
And then he motions to the Jaffa. And as you kind of enter into this place, it is a fairly well lit, well maintained fortress, and you can see that there are doors on the kind of the side that lead into the mountain itself, and from in there you can hear a multitude of voices and what sounds like Matok blasts, and there's definitely activity happening kind of inside what would be the inner keep if it was a castle.
Is it an inner keep, or are they making? Is it like the mountain been hollowed out and like that's a fortress kind of deal on the inside of the mountain? And we're like in this courtyard area in between these front doors and the actual inside of the mountain.
It's much more like you're inside like a wide corridor.
Okay.
And then there are doors that lead into what would be the courtyard.
Okay. You said there was refreshments and stuff, so my assumption is they're taking us to a waiting area. Is it like a buffet table, or?
No, they actually take you to basically a suite of rooms. There's bed, there's fresh linen, there's wash bowls, water to drink, wine to drink, some fresh foods laid out. Basically, like a series of 3 or 4 like hotel rooms, essentially.
I don't believe your Starwood points would work here, Major.
But they do have interconnecting doors between the rooms that they essentially assign you to.
How long do they expect us to stay here, Harris? Do you normally give people rooms for the night?
It is normally custom that you. I suspect the summit is probably 2 to 3 days. Right, Chris? My culture would definitely tell me that.
Yeah. If it is a summit of some nature, and Owain did allude to other guests.
Yeah,
they can't
I'm
actually
putting that together.
Yeah, they can't start the actual thing until all the guests have arrived, and then it's usually a couple of days.
Is that a 2 or 3D meeting that could have been a Zoom call?
This seems like
they
Eris, are they expecting us to negotiate here, or are we taking back terms?
Yes.
That is a very succinct answer.
Well, thank you. I am normally a man of many words. From what I understand, or from what I have partaken in these before, this is a get to know you summit, perhaps, where there are others other than us that are here. In treating, this is not a private us and Bade and the Morrigan. This is now a court of sorts.
We don't have time for a summit.
Unfortunately, Major, we may have to actually make time if we want to figure out what's going on here.
If it's a sound of some kind, the intelligence from it would be worthwhile as much as hearing what the terms would have been.
That's fair. What I mean is, we didn't bring anyone who can negotiate for us, even though we have a certain amount of latitude within that. And secondly,
also,
definitely didn't bring enough food.
And thirdly, the expected time back is not one of summit length. We would have to get a message back home.
Yeah, we have a window in. I look at my watch. In a few hours, and I mean that in the vaguest of terms, for whenever we want to go back, action-wise, whether we're being pushed or not. But we don't have enough food. Are we trusting what they're putting out for us to eat here?
I mean, we can look at. It is not keeping with the people who are hosting this to have poisoned food on us. Although I'm sure we can tell if the food's been tampered with.
That can be examined, yes.
It sounds like one of those nightmares where you show up in underwear at a physics class in college. Fucking
Except there are
nightmare.
stale donuts on the table at the same time. Yeah, if you, Atreyu, if you can be so kind as to tell us if this is okay. I don't expect it to be poisoned because there are easier ways to kill us than bringing us all the way into their fortress and then poisoning us here. I want to make sure we're not like bringing.
I can take some time to examine our fare.
Well, I mean, we have rations with us too.
Indeed.
Yeah, but I want to know that we don't drink some water here to extend our rations, and suddenly we're bringing a plague back home.
Or it's full of drugs that will make us compliant and speak things we don't want to speak.
This is not I mean, I'll roll culture, Chris, but I'm pretty sure like that's not like that violates their hospitality, right?
Yeah, it does. They're for everything else. I mean, they are more than likely to poison one another, but poisoning guests is bad form.
Really bad form.
Yeah, like
No.
if she hadn't invited you, then maybe.
Yeah.
Getting caught
if we
post
showed up,
guests is bad form.
I just as an instinct, and I think it's a good instinct for any Phoenix team to have. You just don't trust the Goa'uld at face value, so I don't mind. I don't feel bad testing their food.
Oh yeah, no, I totally still brought my outbreak kit so I could test food and water just to make sure.
Perfect.
yeah, don't not trust, or obviously skepticism is important, but we should be cautious but not
Trust them.
ungrateful.
Let's
No,
look
I will-
for any
I will
listening
simply-
devices.
I'll simply form this as wanting to ensure that my unique metabolism and our colleagues is not ill-affected.
Can we do a sweep of the room? Are we able to talk here?
Sure. Somebody can give me an investigation check to kind of check the room for listening devices, and Trey, you can give me a let's call it your choice of medicine or survival.
So I'll give somebody investigation, even though I've got a +6 to my investigation. I don't know where everywhere else is.
That's
Roll 18.
All right, then you're fine.
Man, I'm rolling like garbage.
I think Foundry just has a thing for you because
Yeah.
I don't know. It had a thing for me last week. I don't know if you remember how many freaking times I tried to shoot someone.
that's true. But it B rolls poorly in the D&D game as well.
Oh, well,
I have some really good moments in that game, but for the most part, I get my ass handed to me.
Yeah. Well, see, it makes those really good moments all the sweeter. And if I recall, you rolled really well when we were playing Torg Eternity.
Yeah. Not so well, but good enough for the GM to continue the stress.
Yeah. You kind of like get a couple of examples of the different fruits. You're not sure what the fruits are, but they don't register as any toxins or anything that you're familiar with. And there don't seem to be any listening devices or anything in the room either.
Okay.
Everything seems more than safe enough. I'll retain some samples for later, but that's purely for academic purposes.
okay. Well, I guess we make ourselves comfortable and wait.
I definitely freshen up and make myself look more presentable.
Okay.
I guess we would have brought our Class A uniforms if we had known.
Well,
I brought.
as part of our kit, there's an extra change of clothes, if I remember correctly.
There's 3 uniforms as part of your kit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Class A's are the suit and tie ones.
With the little Leslie bowler hat thing.
Yeah, but you're also meeting with a warrior warlord, not Ares.
Yeah, I mean your fatigues are generally a better choice for meeting with Fade. I'm just wearing a cleaner nicer tunic that has a bulletproof vest underneath it.
Perfect. All right. So everybody, kind of relaxes a little bit, gets, cleaned up, splashes some water on the face, all that. And the water is cool and refreshing. And after about an hour or so, there's like a knock at your door.
I'll get it, I guess.
Sure.
Owen is at the door, along with a couple of the Jaffa. Says, "We are going to have some." He seems to like kind of be looking for the word. There are others that have arrived, so we are going to. Yes, thank you. And then we will have a bit of a reception. She has instructed me to ask if you would like a tour. And he looks vaguely confused as to what that might actually mean.
We would love to see the facilities and indulge in your tour. And I would also like to know, who are these other guests that arrived?
There are delegations from some of the system lords and some of the minor nobility from this planet.
Oh, goody. I believe the Major would love to have a tour of this place. Perhaps we should all take a look around. If you'd be so kind, First Prime.
Certainly. So he takes you on like a little kind of a tour of the facility, and those doors that lead further into the mountain that you first saw, they do in fact open up into what looks like kind of like a large courtyard, and then surrounding it on multiple tiers are doors and balconies. So probably you're going to guess like various housing units and everything, all overlooking a very large central courtyard.
Embedded into the mountain, I guess.
Yeah, embedded into the mountain.
Okay.
And then in the courtyard itself, there are literally hundreds of Jaffa of different ages training.
Are they good?
Give me an insight roll.
Are they good?
They're Jaffa, but some Jaffa are pushovers. Some of them are like the First Prime,
They're here for a demonstration, but is it just numbers or is it actually quality?
Yeah, like
I don't think we're here to watch their drill party, but if that's how you want to do it.
NASA's there to watch them drill.
Right. I mean, they could be raw recruits, so it could be the beginning, or they could be, veterans of 50 wars. I don't know.
It looks like as you're looking, it looks like they're definitely broken down into groups, and the different groups seem to have different experience levels.
Okay, fair.
But even the ones that you would estimate to be the most well trained here, you still see some indication that they're still undergoing training.
Okay.
But there are many of them, and as you kind of like look from this courtyard and kind of look up the hollowed out inside of the mountain where essentially the housing units are, the barracks, it goes up several stories. You would estimate that there is probably housing here for thousands.
So this seems to me, other than probably the administration level and the teachers, an academy where you are training people, and then when you are trained, you would then ship off elsewhere.
That was part of the mission briefing. Yes, this is where Morrigan trains their troops.
The planet is where Morrigan trains his troops, but it's important to know that it doesn't seem like there's a huge amount like a ridiculous amount of trained troops in the fortress, probably enough to man the things and to teach. But the true veterans are not in the fortress. They are probably in the ships around.
That would be a fair assumption.
Yeah, I'm looking around for ring pads as we're doing the tour.
Yes, there are a couple here and there, and as he kind of takes you through the tour, there are it very much like 100%. I mean, those of you that are military, you guys have spent considerable time on military bases, and you've gone to military academy, most of you, since you're officers, and it has that same vibe. But the big difference is the ages. Like there are children here training.
So they're starting them young.
Yes,
They always do.
But yeah, there are a couple of ring pads, probably because it is a fairly extensive complex. So just for ease of getting around,
And to get up to the ships, no?
and probably to get up to the ships in the shipyard. Yes.
Or to any other important site on planet.
Is there like a hangar for like gliders or stuff like that, or is this like there's enough to train but not enough to like mount an attack?
There is actually there is 2 hangars here, and they have the death gliders kind of like hanging on racks like they do on the Hattaks.
Yep.
Is there any shuttles or anything we could take to leave if we needed to?
Yes, there are shuttles in the hangars.
Okay, good to know.
The shuttles are the ones with the cloaking technology, right?
Sorry?
The shuttles are the ones with the cloaking technology?
No.
Oh.
No, that's an Atlantis thing. Those are the puddle jumpers.
No, not the puddle jump. Like the Hattar, the like mid-sized ones. They have like a cloak.
Anubis' ships have cloak.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an Anubis thing, I think.
There's a reason why he's the big bad.
Because he's the bad guy.
Because he's the bad guy. So
he's not here, right?
He is not.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're away from SGC and Earth to avoid that, and then he's here.
Yeah. So he does take you on a little bit of a tour, and you do see that everybody seems to give him Owen a fair bit of respect. I mean, he's the first prime. But he does seem to be, with some of the ones that he passes, he does seem to be on a more like friendly basis with them.
Personal.
He's a little bit more personal with some of them, but very, very subtly. So like if you guys weren't on guard just in case something should happen, you probably wouldn't notice.
That's unusual for a first prime.
That is very unusual for a first prime.
Is he a new first prime?
Make it a history roll.
Okay. I have. Is that cross-class skill? So whatever the result is, add a 1 to it.
Okay.
Then I'm not going to spend any Eureka on this one.
16.
17.
17. He's served for quite a while. So he's not new. He definitely he's earned first prime, so he's been here for a bit.
Huh. He's Bade's first prime, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. That'll be important later, I'm sure. All right. Well, I make conversation. I'm not a horrible person. I'm the Tokwa spy. So yeah, I'm chatty. Like I ask him questions, point out architecture, ask him how much decorations changed when they moved in after Belo's defeat. You know, all the nice things.
All the niceties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, He's not.
That's what I was looking for. The term was an Alkesh, so it's that shuttle, not a death glider, but like the mid-size one.
Yeah.
No, the Alkesh is the bomber.
I think so.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it also operates as a bomber.
I thought it. Okay. I thought it was the one that transported stuff, like
Yes, including bombs.
including bomb. Okay, fair.
including bombs.
There you go.
But it has the most important thing is that it has a hyperdrive, right?
Yes, it
we can
does.
get out of here with that.
You can. Important to note, though, you cannot get back to Phoenix Site with the hyperdrive because you do not know the galactic coordinates.
And that's fair. We just need to get somewhere where we can find a Stargate and then dial home from there.
Yeah, the scout ship is the tailtack.
There we go. So anyway, so he finishes off the tour. He does engage in small talk, but he's very bad at it.
Yeah, no, he's a first prime. They're not really great at small talk, but
Yeah.
you know, anything I can get from them, I will. I'm just trying to establish a baseline rapport here, so he knows.
Operating as a tour guide is normally outside of their skill set.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. So I'm trying to soften the blow for him, make him feel like he's not like, well, he's performing a functional thing that he normally wouldn't have to do. I'm both trying to convey that A, we're grateful that he's showing us this cool stuff, and B, I'm trying to empathize with him that hey man, I get it. This is not your thing. Like,
and we are honored that he's the one giving us the tour, not some other dude.
yeah, I'm glad it's him who's talking with me. I mean, at least we know who he is, sort of.
Give me an insight check.
Well, that's what I wanted to check. I wanted to check an insight check. Like, is he happy as a first prime, or is he like, maybe the Tari are right? We should be fighting for revolution, kind of deal.
Does somebody else have a better insight roll than me? I'm at a +3.
Well, I'll get Ares to give me one just because you're interacting with them the most, but Nask, you can give me one since you're specifically kind of checking up on him.
Also have a
I
plus.
am. Should I just add to his?
Not at this time, because that would imply that you have a chance to kind of fall back and talk amongst one another.
Right,
yeah.
which we don't.
Totally.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to help you. I am going to possibly spend a Eureka point, depending on how bad I roll. Insight roll. No advantage. Think I'm gonna spend that Eureka point at the what's the attention die? D6.
Yep.
What's going on? Was it D8?
It's a D6 for this. Currently.
Okay. Rolling the D6 now. It's just 1d6, right?
Yep.
Just making sure I have the reading of that hyperfocus better. Yes, I can just declare it afterwards. Rolling now. That's not bad. So 16.
Oh, that was a funky looking die too.
Yeah, I picked a different, weird die set because I thought it was cool.
Excellent. So yeah, he is kind of, he's a first prime. He's kind of stoic by nature.
Mm-hmm.
But as he's kind of showing you around and you're asking various questions, and he seems, he does know what he's talking about when he's talking about like the training and stuff like that, although he doesn't give away too many details. But he comes across as almost regretful.
Like he comes across regretful as that he was a part of taking Baylor down. That he doesn't like the way the current way things are shaking up.
With the 16, you're not sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna roll with that to start with.
I mean, that's a good assumption. Like the first prime
of
bad feeling regretful that they're stuck here and Major Domo service.
So as he kind of like leads you through the tour, eventually you do come to like a set of very ornately decorated doors with like this crow motif on them, and everything's like, if you're ready, we will go and meet the others.
Sure.
What other groups are there?
There are representatives from two of the other system lords, and then there are some local nobility. And he says that with a very like strong disdain in his voice.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
What
Lead
system?
on.
Do we know them?
That is not my place.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were gonna say. Okay.
Please don't be Anubis. Please don't be Anubis. Please don't be Anubis.
Yeah, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Well, let's see who we get. This could be fun.
Tell him what he's won.
Behind door number 1.
Give me a sec here. So he leads
behind door number 1.
So he leads you basically, the door opens up and there's like a little bit of like an antechamber and stuff, and then there's some staircase, like stairs that go down into what looks like a very ornate dining room.
Okay. Ornate as in there's stone everywhere, or ornate like there's polished marble everywhere?
Like very, very well kept stone and like a rug on the floor and chandeliers and the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
Ooh, they put out the good china.
So, are we selecting our seats, or are they assigned to us?
And are we the first ones here?
You are not. There are some other people. It looks like right now it's just kind of like a standing, like a mixer sort of thing.
Oh, good.
Where's the booze and music?
There is wine on the tables.
Always wanted to go to a Gould mix.
They are far overrated.
Clearly.
I'm gonna use my superpower in here just because I can. Chris, the archaeologist superpower where I can spend my other Eureka point to locate any other secret chambers or hidden rooms. I don't know how to get into them, but I'll know if they're there.
So yes, so as you kind of enter, and now Aries kind of takes a look, and there's definitely the paneling back behind kind of the head table. Looks like it's set back just ever so slightly.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And that is the section that faces into the mountain.
Secret door head table. Do I recognize any of the system lords that are here? Because God, that'd be funny.
So there are no system lords here. There are basically, like minor bureaucrats from,
Oh, okay.
basically minor functionaries from Morgan's court. You do see at the head table, you do see Babe, and you see she's got her hand on the head of Morice, the guy that sold you out in the village.
Oh,
yep,
fuck that guy.
And
he's dead though, right?
He is basically like kind of writhing in pain.
Is like the ribbon hand thing is like cooking him from the inside out?
Or she's reading his mind.
So he's like flailing at the head table.
He's not flailing because the device paralyzes you.
Oh, great. That's wonderful.
He's spasming as best as he can, though.
Yeah.
All this and the first show?
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Morice. Morys.
I was wondering where Morice got to.
And
I say it loud enough for Babe to hear me.
Perfect. And from kind of the back corner, this particular woman looks over and it's like, huh, that's interesting. And you kind of lock eyes with the first prime of Isis.
Ah, shit.
Speaking about people you know.
Oh, boy.
I thought these things were overrated.
Perfect. And
so to the major very quietly, it might start raining pineapples.
Like what?
Perfect. We'll take like a quick 5-minute break after that little reveal because I need to go to the bathroom.
I think it might start raining pineapples. Is the quote of the night?
Yeah.
Yep. It's like,
I
think
don't
it
know
might
if you
start
mean-
raining pun.
So now Naz doesn't know if you mean he should be throwing grenades anywhere or we should be getting the fuck out of here. You just use the
A
same.
little of both.
Oh, give me a minute. I'll be back.
Yeah. So we'll take a quick 5-minute
Yeah.
break here. Perfect.
I'm gonna go replace my drink that I drank dry.
The look. start raining pineapples is that woman over there gesturing there. That's Amari, the first prime of ISIS.
Oh, and that's a problem because you were with ISIS before, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. I definitely didn't steal something very important to ISIS to give to SGC to secure my defection. That didn't happen at all. This could go one of two ways. But I'm going to pretend like nothing's wrong.
That is
and
one
in
of
a
the ways
very-
it can go.
In a very Jaskier kind of way. Oh, Mari! I haven't seen you in a while.
Aries, I did not expect to see you here.
Nor I you. How are you?
Things have been difficult.
Chris, like shooting each other with daggers. How armed are these people? I mean, did we show up armed?
I'm assuming that you guys showed up armed. Nobody said anything about taking your weapons. It's almost like they don't, care. Yeah.
They don't care. We're not threatening them, or they don't consider us a
Perfect.
threat.
That's far. That's fine, but there's also plenty of Jaffa here. Like, there's the whole ISIS community here. Are they armed? Am I fearing for Ares that he's going to get gunned down by staff blasts?
Okay. In the room, the only ones that are armed are Owain, and Bave has her Matok kind of leaning against a chair, and she has her Kalkesh device.
Okay.
And she just kind of like finishes off with more ice and kind of like just pushes him off to the side. It's like useless. And she turns and she looks. She says, "Oh, you've arrived."
Thank you for having us.
Yes, well, I thought that we may be able to talk, but please help yourself. And she kind of gestures to the other guy. She's like, "Please talk amongst yourselves." At which point, the various assorted diplomats start talking amongst themselves.
Am I getting daggers from Amari? Like, I'm curious what her level is here.
No, not daggers necessarily.
Okay.
More curiosity.
Oh, that's better than. Okay. Well, the forecast. I will say quietly to the team, the forecast is cloudy with a chance of pineapples now.
Okay, so I'm basically watching Ares to figure out if I need to lay down covering fire. Is basically what I'm. Looks like.
Oh.
She'll walk across the room to you. And Babe is just kind of making her way through the various assorted gathered people.
Yeah, we're not important. It's fine. She can talk to all of them all she wants. We'll get to her later. This is far more impressive. Hi. How are you?
Don't mind me as I move so I'm not interposed between you.
Really appreciate that. Thanks.
I'm the least threatening person here.
Is there any alcohol? There's food and alcohol on the tables?
There's food and there's wine.
Oh, shit. If there were strong alcohol, I'd prepare a pina colada for these guys.
So basically the way this scene will play out is you guys can decide who you're talking to, and then basically what you're trying to find out from anybody in particular. There are certain events that will happen during this little like cocktail party, for lack of a better term. But other than that, you're free to interact with and talk to the various assorted people. The ones that look all the same are just generic, diplomats. So they're like low-ranking members of the household staff. They probably report to Morrigan, but they are like low-level functionaries.
So basically, there's four people we can talk to: Omari, Owain, Badab, and
Babe.
sorry, and More Eyes. Right? Everybody else
Yeah.
is generic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the nobles here, those the
Well,
ones that he
that's the only people I want to talk to. I wanted to know why the hell the nobles were here.
Yeah, there's like the 3 generic ones kind of over in this area. There's the 4 over here. They're kind of just all talking amongst themselves, probably talking about, various assorted logistic issues that they have. I mean, this is a large facility, and there's a staff necessary to run it. And then there is Omari, Owen, Babe, and Morais, who is just essentially in the fetal position on the floor, and she just kind of steps over him after she discards him.
So we each get to talk to someone different, or we as a group talk to different people.
It's just kind of like free flying. I'm not going to worry about initiative or anything of that nature, or moxie tests or anything. Just, if there's like, hey, I would like to talk to Babe and find out why she invited us here, or I'd like to talk to Amari and find out why the hell she's here, and so on and so forth.
Oh, that's what I'm doing first. I'm very curious as to why she's here.
I'm curious why the nobles are here. It doesn't seem like they would be important enough to be at this kind of gathering, so I'm curious why they were invited.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
Doyle thinks that if he speaks to anybody, he's going to say something bad.
Okay.
He's just going to walk around and listen to everybody talking.
Okay. All right. What about Sam and Antreyu?
Is it possible to assist?
Absolutely.
I'll assist Nas, honestly. Basically, he's better at the schmoozing, but sometimes because we're dealing with the type of situation we're in, I have sort of that supplementary knowledge of like, oh hey, here, what's that term? I have the ability where I can help put stuff in good metaphor.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, at the end of the day, everybody else is a gold, so they're not going to turn on themselves. But these are human people.
They are.
They might turn on their masters.
Okay. What about Antreyu?
Was anyone obfuscating why our purposes
Not
or information?
Not currently. Nobody.
Okay, I'll work to covering over us.
Okay. All right.
Keep people off our trail.
Gotcha. So kind of like if anybody's like, so what brings the Tauri delegation here? You're just like making stuff up, basically.
Yeah.
We were invited.
Perfect. All right. So I'll just kind of go around here. So we will say, Aries, you can give me a persuasion check.
Oh boy. Okay, at persuasion. Oh, do I have anything to make advantage of that? No. But persuasion is in class for me. So, well, sorry, it's one of my skills. Normal. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Whammies.
So Amari will basically kind of like grab a glass of wine and kind of settle up to you and say, so are you with the Tauri now? Is that
Make it sound like we're dating.
I am currently exploring my relationship with the Tauri. We're in that new relationship phase where everything is rosy and we don't see each other's faults, as it were.
I see. I heard that there was someone on one of Baylor's previous holdings claiming to be representing ISIS.
That's certainly an interesting tactic. Somebody on Baylor's holdings, you say?
Yes.
Which place would that have been?
That would be, and she names the planet, the first one that you guys visited with the plague that hit.
We traveled there briefly. There was a plague, as I recall. I'm gonna bet Arwen was involved.
We know exactly why she's here. Is basically what you're telling us, Chris. She's here to figure out who's been using ISIS's name.
Yeah, who's been name dropping?
Perhaps.
I name dropped once. Jesus.
That was enough.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah,
So-
right? Ah, well.
So, you are aware that ISIS is no more.
What?
Yeah.
Bitch, say what?
I would like to be completely like flat-footed by that, and so he kind of like the color sort of drains from his face. I'm sorry. What?
Yes. She.
What? You? Surely you jest.
I would not jest about such a thing.
Would you do me the decency of telling me how?
We do not know. We do know that Osiris has absorbed her holdings.
Oh. That's inconvenient.
More so for those of us that were still loyal.
Well, yeah, that's fair. And are you here to curry the Morrigan's favor in sheltering yourself from Osiris?
I am weighing my options.
Ah. You and I have more in common than I thought. Can I get you a glass of wine?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna continue attempting to well, that was an interesting thought. He's just gonna keep trying to
Dish the
play
deeds.
But she's
well,
Jaffa, right? She's not gold. She could be turned potentially.
yeah, she's Jaffa. Absolutely. I am actively like I'm gonna plant hints about, maybe the Tari might be able to help you out.
You know who needs
But
a first
also,
name? Ares.
what was that?
He's saying you need a first prime.
Yeah, he's a first prime? Me. That's right. We set me up as a puppet god. That's a great plan for Phoenix team. I am we set me up as the system lord. It can't possibly go wrong. Oh, wait.
Hey, I just want to say there are cultures that revere Phoenix.
Yeah, it's true. So Eurie's big play here would be just to convince her that, like, oh, you're keeping your options open. Well, the Tari are also open to new and exciting relationships, and they're tend to be welcoming of those who may not have a place anymore, et cetera, et cetera.
We're all about Jaffa who have no leaders anymore. They're called Free Jaffa.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. I'll start talking about the Free Jaffa movement, maybe not in earshot of, the rest of them. But, like, trying to butter her up.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. Oh, sorry, yeah. I thought I said Tok'ra. I'm like, oh, Tari, yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Doyle, since you're just kind of going around listening in on things, give me a perception check.
Eh.
Um, you don't catch anything. Not the conversation is very. The conversation that the like household functionaries are having amongst themselves is very much like office Christmas party type of conversation.
Okay.
The sort of thing that you're trying your best to listen and to see if there's anything, but it's just so dull and so boring. But you do catch that Morais, although he's like kind of in a fetal position, he is kind of like whimpering under his breath. You can't quite make out what he's saying or whimpering, but he's not dead. He hasn't been killed by the device. And he seems to be just whimpering under his breath lightly.
And then he put the stapler in the gelatin mold.
Why?
Because it's
Office Christmas party chatter.
Not this Christmas party. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I'm not gonna finish him off.
That's more what Naz would do.
Yeah, either Naz or Erie would be more than happy to do it.
Okay, so unless there's alcohol involved, nothing compromising is going to be happening.
Yeah, it seems very, very kind of dry.
Oh well, these things happen.
All right, Atreyu.
So did I fail that persuasion roll? I'm gonna guess I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I feel like that's Eureka point for me.
So Owen will kind of saddle up to Atreyu. It's like, forgive me for asking, but I've never encountered one such as yourself before.
Well, we're not a very traveled species. We've just crossed paths with the Tory, and our medical science sometimes assists them.
And you found the Towery to be accepting of this?
More so than some other options in the past.
And he kind of like leans in close, so like he takes like great pains to not be overheard. It's like, I have heard that the Towery are a welcoming people.
As long as one comes with an open heart and no veiled eyes.
And
They're like a domesticated animal. Sometimes it's hard to trust after you've been bit.
And the one, and he kind of very vaguely gestures over in NASA's direction. That one is your first prime.
When someone asks if you're a god,
You say yes.
Yes, he is the first prime.
For the lack of a better word.
Or prime lackey, but I'm not going to say prime lackey.
No, maybe don't say that one.
No.
And he has authority to speak for the Towery.
On some matters, obviously they don't deal well on the spot in a lot of ways.
I understand. If you could let him know, I would like to speak with him.
Certainly.
Okay. And then over to Nas and Sam. You guys can give me, since Sam is assisting, Nas can give me an insight check with advantage. Ooh, double nines.
Is it really advantage if I roll 2 9s?
Right?
You rolled 2 10s. It was better.
By one.
They don't seem like they're willing to change faction, I'm guessing.
They are. You guys very, very quickly kind of twinge to the fact that these guys are like they're minor household functionaries. I mean, they are. You get the very strong feeling that they're window dressing.
Look at how magnanimous we are. We let the pets eat at the table.
More about that because the DC on this was super low. It's more like they're here because the person that organized the shindig just has it in their head that they're supposed to be people at an event. Like as you
That's
kind of
awesome.
as you engage in conversation with them, they're not entirely sure why they're here, other than the person in charge at the moment told them to be here.
Are they at all happy with the person in charge? The whole concept of my character, right, is about looking to see where he can foment a rebellion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's obviously not as easy as picking them out in a crowd, but the whole point is to like constantly be looking for feelers on for that kind of stuff.
For that, give me another insight check, but no advantage on this.
Okay, no advantage on this one. Absolutely.
You're not sure how they feel about their job overall. You can tell that they don't view Babe as their boss.
Okay.
Like they work for Morgan.
Okay.
So. We'll kind of go from basically over like a half hour or so. You guys kind of make small talk. Aries is talking to Amari. Owen is talking to Antreyu, and Doyle. You know that. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I will eventually want to go talk to the what's his face, Torture Boy.
Morais?
Yeah.
Okay.
Torture Boy.
Okay. So basically, over the course of the half hour, the minor functionaries kind of filter out. Like once they have the feeling that, they've served their purpose, they all just kind of filter out.
That's enough that Morgan's not get pissed for not listening to Bev, right? All right, we're out of here.
Right. At which point, Babe will make her way over to the Major. It's like, and she will look around and she'll see who's still here, and she says, "Okay, now that pleasantries are out of the way, we can discuss more freely."
Would you like to sit? It's not my place to offer, but there are chairs.
No, it's okay. I prefer to be on my feet.
I've heard that about you.
Oh, the flirting started.
Yeah. Oh.
So you had a chance to investigate the sarcophagus that I left for you.
Yes, it was quite an interesting find. Surprising.
It is useful.
For some, I hear.
There's much to be said about loyal troops that do not question orders.
And yet you have an army of Japa who does not question your orders. You don't have to use a machine like that.
I am debating the pros and cons of both. I have used R1's Cauldron, and it is functional, but it is the tip of the iceberg. There is much more to what he is up to, and that is what I wish to discuss with you.
Well, to me, that's horrifying, and I'm very curious to see what else is there. and what you might have to share. However, you didn't invite us here to simply give us a bunch of information. I think that there was a proposal that you suggested, and I don't know if this is the right time or place to talk about it, but I'd like to know more about what was on the table, per se.
I would like the Towery's assistant.
I assumed otherwise we wouldn't have gotten through the front door. You want something of ours, and you're going to propose something in exchange.
If I did not have a use for you, I would have killed you on that planet.
Exactly.
So,
And you're going to offer us something in exchange for our help. That's how a trade happens.
correct. I don't expect assistance for nothing, and what I have to offer is of great benefit to both.
Is there something you want to show me? Something you want to tell me?
No, it is not the sort of thing that I can show. That would be no, that would not be wise. And she does actually giggle a little. It's vaguely chilling.
I'll say.
What do you know of Aron?
I look over to my chief scientist, who's standing next to me.
All right. I can. I think I probably can give sort of an appropriate summary of our basics without, putting my complete foot in it. I do have some skill in explaining things, at least. Tegan's forgetting a lot of things. Do I have? And I am trained in culture, so I can do this.
You can do this. Summarize everything that we know about her.
So Tegan just doesn't have all the facts in their head. So I'll give sort of that, like, here's the elevator summary of our awareness of Arwen. And I believe we know that he is known for his unique approach to technology, correct?
Yes, he is what the Towery would refer to as a mad scientist.
Politely. That's a polite term.
Yes, yeah. I'm going polite with it. I have culture if you want me to roll for this. But I'm speaking from a person. I'm doing like the science talk version of it all.
I am not being polite. He has.
Oh, that was you saying. That was you in character. I thought that was an out of character comment.
Yeah, no. He has gone too far. He has begun experimenting in things that should be left alone.
Such as, I feel like that sarcophagus is already a few steps past that line.
The sarcophagus is doing what it was designed to do, which is to rejuvenate. He pushes boundaries that are best left unpushed, and he experiments on things that are best left alone. He has bought into his own myth.
What's the myth surrounding him exactly?
That he is Lord of the Dead.
So in addition to surrounding himself with these half-alive Jaffa, you're saying that he's gone past that and is now doing...
Walk with me, Major.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Oh boy.
And she will basically lead you upstairs away from everybody else.
Oh.
Heyo.
You walked into it. It's all you, bud.
I don't have... Okay, let's go.
Right. So the rest of you see, and And she motions for Sam to come as well.
All right.
Oh, cool. Okay.
There's probably slightly less panic if we both are going rather than just one.
I am less panicked that she took two of you.
Yeah.
If it was just the major, I'd be like, that's bad.
Wait, it depends on the devices she has, because she can only grab one person's head at a time, right? I'm joking.
In each hand.
She only has the one device.
Okay.
And she did not stop to grab her Matok staff.
Yeah, I'm guessing in a one-on-one fight, I'm like, there's no way I'm taking her, but yeah, we're going upstairs to follow, and basically what I'm trying to imply here is that the Tari is not just a weapon that you fire, and I know that she wants us to do that, like it's clear. And if we are going to do that, it better be for a really good reason.
Right. In the meantime, Ares, you were going over to talk to Morais.
I sure am. So he's probably. Well, first of all, is he still whispering something like a prayer to his god or something?
He is. Give me an insight check.
Woohoo! I am definitely going to use a Eureka point on this one. Actually, I'm gonna wait to see if I need to add attention to that to it. Insight, you said?
Yep.
Sure. How'd I do?
19.
Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna spend on that one.
Right. So yeah, he seems like basically he's been traumatized by having the ribbon device used on him. He seems to be like, maybe to your somewhat limited medical knowledge, he might be in shock or something like that, but he seems to be just kind of repeating over and over. It's like, I didn't break, master. I didn't break. I didn't tell her anything. I didn't break. Just kind of repeating that over and over, almost like a mantra to himself. Like maybe he's trying to convince himself that he didn't.
Now we get to see evil Ares. But you did. You betrayed your master. I'm definitely trying to break him.
Give me a deception roll.
Woo-hoo-hoo, yeah.
Neary's special.
Person. I'm a bad person. This is the part where I'm, the bad spy thing. Now, if I recall correctly, do I have a thing where I can... no, okay. So it's deception's charisma, but luckily I have that as a class skill. Because I'm... Ugh. Nope. Blew that.
Yeah, you can't seem to get through to him. He might benefit from maybe like a sedative or something that would help to kind of calm him down, because right now he's just in that, not quite a panic mode, but maybe kind of a panic mode. He's just going to reassure himself that he didn't give anything up.
Maybe I'll give him some wine.
Okay.
A little something in it.
I don't have any of those poisons.
In the meantime, while Owen is talking to Antreyu, and Dahl kind of has circled back around that way, Omari has made her way over as well.
Oh, god damn it.
So now the two first primes, or the first prime and the X first prime, basically they're kind of looking at each other. And it seems to, like, as you're kind of like stuck in the middle of them, they're kind of like looking past you or through you, kind of like almost kind of daring the other person to make the first move, sort of thing. And then they both kind of talk at the same time. And Doyle, you're close enough to overhear this. And both of them at pretty much the same time saying it's like, we would like to talk to the Towery about joining. And then
Boom.
the two of them kind of get this look on their face because they both said it at roughly the same time using roughly the same terminology.
It has been noted and it will be passed on.
They don't even pay attention to what Antrayu said. They're just like looking at each other. Like there's this look of like disbelief on both of them.
Oh, first prime defection.
I'm used to being invisible, so you know.
And Amari kind of regains her composure first. Like, I have no master. I have no purpose. And Owen says, I cannot continue to send young people to their deaths. There needs to be a better way.
Agreed. The death should never be the course chosen. All can thrive and all can live.
If you and he'll look at both like you and Doyle. If you can let your leader know.
Yes, the Towery first prime of this group will be informed.
It's noted.
Let him know that there are others here.
You
Of
should
course.
give them the coordinates to the, not the base, but the meeting point.
If for some reason we're unable to arrange to speak, the planet you met us on is where we will be after we're done here.
Understood. Of the Jaffa that are here, in the time that I've been here, I believe a large number of them would join me.
Ooh. Ooh. That's a big problem.
Uh-huh.
That's a big problem.
Are you saying that in character?
Oh no, he's not there to say
I
it.
don't care. I'm not there. I'm busy dealing with. I'm
Oh,
trying
right.
to use wine to torture this dude.
And Trejo's choosing not to speak those thoughts.
No, but they should definitely. Yeah. Hey, we came to meet with you, and then took half your Jaffa. So that's cool, right? Everyone's cool with that. Yeah, that's great.
Everyone's on board with this. Awesome.
I honestly, Sam's been thinking over that whole like another one of them flat out says he went too far, and that's very interesting. Like, how much does someone have to push the bounds from?
Well,
I mean,
I'm totally curious about that too. And then there's like, depending on what she says, we might have a moral conundrum here of joining forces to kill this dude, and or accept the defection of all these people, right? So
So meantime, upstairs, once Babe basically ensures that you're alone, like, I require Tauri assistance to dethrone my sister.
As expected.
okay, I don't think it could have been said more clear than that. And I think it's clear on my side that the Tari are not just a weapon to be wielded by anyone. I believe that you are going to try to either incite us or tell us why we should do this.
Because I will offer assistance to you in dealing with a greater threat.
Such as?
The scientist Arwan was censored by the System Lords centuries ago. He has continued to alter technology. That in itself is meaningless. Lately, he has succumbed to madness. He has come to believe two things that I believe are detrimental to all of us. You're aware of what his sarcophagus can do.
It can bring back the dead into a form of almost life to serve him unendingly, without question, without reason.
Correct. He also believes that he can use... I'm not entirely sure how familiar the Tower are with the replicators.
We've encountered a species of machines that can consume and replicate, if that's what you mean.
He believes he can do something similar with organic material. That these things that he rejuvenates would be able to fix themselves in the field.
Are you saying that there would be a zombie plague, and where these things were to kill stuff, those people would rise as zombies as well?
I don't know how far his experiments have gotten.
Oh, I was going Terminator 3 with it.
No, I'm going like full on. I look over at
He's
Sam.
going worst case
Full
scenario.
on, yeah, full on, like 28 days later.
Yeesh.
Not only do they repair and rebuild themselves, they create more.
My brain, what was sounding like, is this as a clarification, are we talking about replication of organic material as in creating living like vessels, or as in making this a communicable status?
When last I had information, his experiments were using their ability to replicate to repair organic flesh immediately. So if you were to shoot one of these cauldron-born with your weapon, the wound would instantly seal over and they would be uninjured. I do not know how much beyond that point he has progressed.
But his goal is so these things can go on and then make new ones of themselves on their own.
His goal is the elimination of life. He believes he is the Lord of the dead. Those that are dead serve him.
Okay, so let's assume that this is a good reason for the Tory to get involved. Let's say what you're saying is true. What are your expectations? Are you simply going to give us a gate coordinate address and say, deal with it?
I was hoping to get that information from his underling, but his underling's brain seemed resistant.
So instead, what's the alternative? We talk about this now and then eventually you feed us intel? Or are you saying that we would work together on a joint mission to get this information where we would work side by side?
I'm offering to assist you in dealing with this threat in exchange for your assistance in dethroning my sister. If his plan comes to fruition, if he succeeds in extinguishing even a small amount, that is less for us to rule.
Before I say anything, I want to summarize to make sure I understood this properly. If we believe that Arwen is against all life and trying to raise a pseudo undead army that can heal themselves on command, you will help us deal with this threat if separately we help you dethrone your sister.
Yes.
And although you can't give us coordinates or solid intel on the undead portion of this, you probably know very well where your sister is and know very well her defenses and can very well instruct us on where to go to accomplish your own goals.
I believe that dealing with Arwen is a much bigger issue.
Okay, good. So you're not asking for payment first.
No.
So I agree that dealing with Arwen does sound like a large problem. How do you propose that we find out enough information to challenge him and to stop his manufacture of these things?
I will continue to question his underling.
Would you be against us questioning him? I mean, if we end up getting the intel and act on it on our own, that problem is resolved anyway.
Well, he is currently my prisoner.
Take it as good faith, an exchange of prisoner, so we can continue these conversations. And trust me, if we find out where Arwen is, we'll happily give you the information.
Give me either persuasion or deception, depending on whether you're telling her the truth or whether you're lying to her.
Well, 100% telling her the truth. I don't. If everyone knows where the bad guy is, that's fine. I just don't think it's okay to torture him. I'm against that, and I feel like we can debrief him without having to submit him to ribbon device over and over again.
All right. So persuasion, and I'll assume Sam is helping, so you can have advantage.
Yes. Because if it's like, well, what methods do you have? It's like, well, we do have other,
We have sandwiches.
Well, more specifically, we have experience with a wider range of humanoid physiologies and psychologies coming from a different viewpoint and a different standpoint, whereas we are trying to integrate, get them to talk versus subjugate, which gives us a different angle in trying to extract information.
Could always just spray him with scopolamine.
What she said.
Perfect. So finally a good roll from somebody.
Yeah. I'm just looking at our history of rolls here.
Hey, I rolled a 20 earlier today.
Spotted the shipyard.
So she seems to give it some thought, and she's like, as a sign of good faith, you may take him for questioning.
And we would return here to these coordinates if we do gain more information?
I will not be here past tomorrow.
Where and how can we reach you for information if we need to share something that we gain?
She seems to think for a second. I will leave a message for me in the caves.
And you are going to check there periodically?
That is a very good point.
I mean, a dead drop location is functional, but
as long as we check it,
right?
Yeah. So she seems to be thinking, and this is the point where you see the fact that your briefings are correct. She's not a great thinker. She is very much a kick the door and doer sort of person. And there's this slight feeling that she might be slightly over her head.
Okay.
But
hey, this sounds like it's exactly your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's inciting insurrection.
Yeah. So, go on, Chris.
So she will give you gate coordinates to. I just gotta find the name of the planet here.
To a planet.
P8H725.
Right. I'm sure she doesn't use that.
Yeah, she doesn't. She gives you actually gate coordinates. to a
Mhm.
planet called Glenavar.
If we go to Glenavar, we can leave a message for you.
You can find me in the city, in the capital of Lady Haven.
Wonderful. I look over to Sam. Sam, we have those coordinates.
I'll have made a note of it, and perhaps if will we in particular be conspicuous there, or should we send Eris as a more inconspicuous messenger, as we do not want to cause disruption in your plans?
I would suggest dressing him more appropriately.
Okay. Well, let us debrief more eyes. We'll come back to you with more information, and we'll talk about what we should do with Arwen and what we can do with your sister.
Certainly.
Is there any other information you want to give us about your sister? In case we want to do something on our own, for example.
Not at this time.
Very well. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Otherwise, I'd like to talk with my team before we depart.
Certainly. By all means.
Okay. I'm going to come down and I'm looking for all of my team, but specifically I'm looking for the doctor.
Okay. Yeah, everybody is pretty much where you left them. She does not go back down with you. She continues on her way.
Sure. I come back down. I look at I don't know how much of an entrance I make just coming down the stairs just with me and Sam, but I'm looking intently at the doctor and I give the we need to talk.
I give a very similar look back to you.
If and when you come over, I'm like, take a look at More Eyes. We need to make sure he's good to travel. He's leaving with us.
Both First Primes would like to speak with the Tari about possibly joining.
You're joking.
Owain says that there's many that would come with him. Omari seems to be more bored and at a loss, having no more position.
We are going to be in a position where we're going to need someone who can help with the message transfer. Perhaps this can be, if things need to move slowly, this can be worked into it.
Well, if you want to check on Lieutenant Doyle, I believe I have a patient to inspect.
I go to Doyle and I tell him, get this to Omari. Find some way to give us a protective escort back to the gate so we can talk in private.
Where you can't talk in private on this planet.
But what I'm saying is that during that giant trek of 4 hours alone with no listening devices on a barren desert, we can at least talk with Omari, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
He can use that as a cover to protect the prisoner or to help us get the prisoner to the wherever location, right?
Okay.
Because God knows, even though I don't think our rooms are bugged, we're not talking about defection
here.
And we're not borrowing a shuttle to talk about defection on the flight back.
Exactly.
No, unless there's drinks and free snacks. Okay, well, Doyle will go see Omari.
She's like standing right beside you guys when you talk, so.
Oh, Mario is the one. Get them to come. Like, we need to have a discussion, and here's not the place, right? So.
Okay, well, essentially,
yeah.
I
figured NASA's not so bullheaded to just talk to Doyle right beside them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing it from a distance, so it doesn't know like that.
All right. So Amario will travel with you because she's here by herself, and Owen can arrange for an escort.
Very well. It will be much appreciated if we could be escorted. It's a long walk.
Certainly. We'll make sure that you get off planet safely.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure that there's no walls listening to us while walking. It's great.
When do you plan to leave?
When my boss tells me to,
Now?
I'm not aware of these things.
Anytime that he's ready. Like, well, that's not true. Hold on. We need to make sure Morais is ready to.
Morris would probably need to be he would need to be carried. So probably like a
He
a
needs a
stretcher something.
sedative.
Or a sedative to kind of get him out of his own head, sort of thing.
I have sedatives, but yeah. So those are the options, Major.
I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say, look, we need a reason to get an armed escort to the gate. Whatever state he needs to be in to get us an escort to the gate, can we make sure he's in that state?
Well, if he's a token of potential agreement, then wouldn't the armed escort be more than willing to carry the stretcher for us to the gate?
That sounds like a wonderful idea, and I'm going to say it's our doctor, recommended by our doctor, to make sure that he's not more damaged.
So we need to keep him from being damaged, so so more can be learned from him.
Right,
Yes.
doctor? This is your recommendation. Great.
That is the recommendation. Sedation could cause further damage to his nerve and mind.
Fantastic. Great. Happy to hear. So, Chris, this is our veiled ploy to get these first primes aside.
Major, you and I need to take a walk while we're on our way back to the gate.
That's fair.
So just kind of in the interest of time, you can easily get Morris ready for travel. Owen will show up with like an honor escort. So there's like him and Omari and 4 other Jaffa. 2 of them will basically carry the makeshift stretcher, and you guys can say your goodbyes to Bave and continue on your way to the gate.
The French kiss, one on each cheek. No, probably not.
No.
You're forgetting about hugs.
Right. So we say our goodbyes, and I have Sam confirms the address a second time just to make sure it's correct, and then we head off.
Okay.
Sorry, Sam, if I'm putting words in your mouth there. Tegan?
Sorry, I missed part of the words there. We're getting ready to go.
I said I was speaking for you, but I'm just making sure that you confirm those coordinates before we leave.
Yes. Sorry. My brain missed there was words, and I realized I didn't understand any of them.
There were sounds. There may have been reason behind them. I do not understand.
All I remember is the first time that Aries said I should take a lance, and I had the exact same brain fart. Okay, so we're going to move on towards the gate. I think the first discussion that we need to have is as a group on our own. So we're going to separate ourselves a little bit from the first primes before we have any kind of discussions.
Okay.
So bring the group together as much as, and I hope, Aries, you can share that information with the rest of the group as that you expect with me.
It's for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's pool this information together that we just learned. One is, Bave just told me that Arwen's goal is to kill all life in the universe, and is trying to find a way, as far as my understanding is, to make her Jaffa, which are half dead, to instantly regenerate themselves, and potentially even pass that on their state of being as something else, to something else.
Specifically by using replicator-based technology.
Which should be
the evil Dr. Genius something.
Terrifying. And she wants to help us kill this guy, and in exchange, the Tory need to agree to dethrone her sister, who seems like the greater tactician between the two of them. She looks like she already has a grasp of like how to deal with logistics, so she would be a much less intimidating threat than her sister to begin with.
So there's 2 actions. We help her. She's asking for a favor in exchange of her doing something to help herself and us joining in. What kind of trade is that?
She obviously wants the throne.
No, but I mean, what's in it for us? Because
Well-
even if we don't do shit, she's still gonna oppose that mad scientist and get him
And
killed.
go after her sister. Right. So she's going to pose the mad scientist. I don't know if she's going to get a kill there, but that is important for us to deal with. More important, I think, on the other side is dethroning a more powerful Goa'uld to put a weaker, less powerful or competent one in its place.
It's
These are options that we need to discuss with the general, but that's what was
Yeah.
proposed on the table.
we also need to discuss the idea if we take 2 first primes back with us, as well as some of Bade's or Morrigan's fighting force, that may cause our gentleman's agreement with Bade into question.
Yes.
Just to be clear, Chris, the Jaffa that the first prime promised are Bade's Jaffa, right?
No, Morgan's.
Oh, okay. That's less bad. So, okay, never mind. That changes it. I thought we were literally taking Bade's first prime and her Jaffa.
No, he's been
With
in charge of training Jaffa for Morgan because of the Major Domo situation.
Right. Okay, cool. So then, I'm still cautious though. If we take a large amount of Jaffa from the Morgan right now in defections to the Tari, it could provoke Morgan to attack us first,
All
or
of
at
this
least
sounds
be
too
more aware
convenient.
of us.
Right, but Morrigan is who we want to dethrone anyway. Right?
Yeah, but
Dave wants to dethrone Morrigan. So if we take a portion of Morrigan's army, we're already dealing a blow to Morrigan.
But you don't want to start a war in Russia in the winter.
We don't want to be stretched on 2 fronts.
And that's fair. We're not making decisions right here. We're just putting the cards on the table. So we're saying
So-
what?
Oh, I did get that Tari reference correct.
Yes.
Excellent.
So if we knock out a system lord, are they all gonna gang up on us?
Well, no.
No.
The point would be so it looks like Bave knocked out that system lord. So we would be hands clean.
Because there are Tari that are enslaved to the Goa'uld, and she is looking to basically take the throne. So it's her power play.
And what would be hilarious is after her power play, we take the first prime of Morgan as well as a portion of her army, whether before or after. More importantly, I think that at play here, depending on the size of that defection that they're talking about here, a capital ship is not out of the question.
But aren't these defections a bit too convenient?
Absolutely. I'm not here. I'm not here taking anything at face value. We're going to have a discussion with the first primes in a minute, and we're not going to shake hands on anything right here. But we want to know what their intentions are and what kind of timeline they're looking at, and we can investigate that further. So we're not making decisions here. We're just putting cards on the table, and potential options are here. Not only that first prime, not only helping them free his people, which is of primordial importance to me, not only about relocating them and getting them involved in the Free Jaffa movement, and the Jaffa will be more than happy to bring their brothers back into the fold. But we're talking about, if he's not exaggerating, see, this is a large portion, that may or may not come with the logistics to support that. We're talking about potentially acquiring for the Free Jaffa movement like a Hatak, maybe 2. I don't know.
Yes, he did seem. A lot of his resignation earlier seemed to also apply because he's tired of sending the young to die.
Now, if he can get the young or those being trained on board a large vessel, it's hard to move them through Stargate, right? If you're talking about thousands of people, you're probably thinking of a capital ship or 2. You can have them on maneuvers or whatever, and then simply defect. And then we can move them to Jaffa free worlds. Not only to move those people, but with the Hataks themselves to be able to protect those people. If this is reliable. Big if. Anything else we discovered over the last day?
I would say that I feel that he's earnest, but not all the truth is out.
Fair.
Earnest and may not perhaps, and whether there may, in addition to perhaps there being missing truth, may not also realize what our truth is as well.
Precisely.
The other reason that we managed to get our hands on More Eyes, FYI, why he's traveling with us, is that More Eyes apparently at some point in time was the agent of Arwen.
Yes, he was. Well, that was his role in the village as well.
So he might have information as to the location or the future plans. And Dave's plan was to ribbon him until he told her where his base was. And I couldn't let that slide. So we're going to try to debrief him and extract the information ourselves at Phoenix Command.
And I would say what we also learned is that whatever Arwen is doing is extreme enough that someone with a very different moral framework than we have considers it abhorrent and out of control. I find that itself very interesting and alarming.
Is it abhorrent to them, or are they afraid that he's going to win?
They described him as a mad scientist that needs to be stopped.
Well, if Arwen's goals are even partially pursued, that's less slaves and less planets to divvy up between them.
I mean,
They are also competition to him as living beings.
Eventually, they'll draw his ire as well.
We've heard about the replicators. They are bad news. If he's trying to do the same thing with living beings, that sounds really bad. So this is everything that we've learned so far. I have a question that I did not get answered, and I wanted to know if anyone got it answered. If
What's the
Morgan's
question?
first prime was there, why was Morgan not?
Well, but he wasn't Morgan's prime.
He's Dave's prime in charge of training Morgan's troops.
Yes. So Morgan's prime and Morgan were not present at all, or we didn't see them.
But her troops are there, being trained.
Yes. Or it's all a test.
Something that Ares would be aware of is Bave is she's not a strategist, she's not a general, she is the best warrior amongst the Goa'uld. So having her and her first prime train Morgan's troops
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's
also
like Braytok still being in charge of training despite his advanced age because he was the best fighter on that side.
Yep.
But that also makes an excellent reason for the general to want to replace Morgan with Bave's help because she won't be as competent as a system.
She's going to throw away more lives than Morgan does.
But if she's so incompetent, she'll be taken over quickly, and we're just giving these resources to another system lord.
Well, we'll have to again, no decisions. I'm just saying that I'd rather have a less competent system lord in charge than a more.
And the potential reduction of 2 other system lords.
Look, let's talk to the first. Ares, in your opinion, which of the first primes should we speak to first?
Well, we're definitely leaving the gate with Isis's first prime. She's got nowhere else to go, and would be easy to debrief and then bring over to our cause. The other one would be the prudent thing for Owain would be to promise him or assure him that we will obviously bring him into the fold.
We need to establish communication with Owain because if it's a difference between defecting one person, like
we need to be prepared to figure out how many people he's going to bring, right?
And that's not something that's going to be discussed now. We need to find a way to communicate with him and to coordinate a large movement of people.
Well, if Owain could be positioned as the go-between for reaching out outside of just going to visit Babe.
That's what I was suggesting, is that there would be a useful as part of the coordination, and also if they are talking about numerous people, this isn't a one and done.
No. As
They
opposed
can't.
to
They
Omari,
simply can. He cannot defect with us, right? He cannot go with us right now because he has things that need to be done for this.
right. So Omari, we can take to P4J, wherever we're going, and we can debrief her there before we move on to Stargate Command, and we choose whether we're taking her or not. But Omari, we need to figure out, Owain, we need to figure out a line of communication because there's logistics involved with moving that many people. And there's a lot of assurances that need to be made on both sides. I'm sure that he needs to vet us and we need to vet him as much as possible as well. And if we're going to move that many people, I don't know how many we're talking about. The Phoenix site might not be the best place. We might move them directly to one of the Jaffa free worlds. So we need to coordinate with the Jaffa as well.
Or the Jaffa might have their own transitional space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel we talk to Owain right now. We say, look, this is what we need. It sounds interesting. I know that you need to be careful about this because you don't know us, and we definitely need to be careful around you because we don't know you. So we need to figure out some way to communicate, because if you are planning to move however many people it is, especially you're young and all that, this can't be a everyone run to the Stargate situation. This needs to be planned and thought out beforehand. Is that a fair assessment? Any suggestions?
No, it's
Around?
fair.
All right. So we'll do that first, and then we'll take Omari with us through the Stargate to our in-between zone, and we'll debrief her there.
Yeah, and then we'll send word to Phoenix Command that we have a defection, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. Chris?
Yep. So in the interest of time, we'll pick up probably with the debriefing of Amari and Morais next session.
Sure.
Wayne will let you know that as First Prime, he travels with Babe, so he will be going to the planet that she has given you coordinates for.
Great.
The potential free Jaffa he's aware of are here at the training facility.
Okay.
If he defects from Glenaver, it will be just him. But he feels like he owes it to these young people to get them.
How many are we talking about?
I believe that I have a quarter of the troops here ready to go, so no more than 5,000.
Sweet Jesus.
Good Lord.
Wow.
That does require coordination in order that
Planning.
they do not suffer for this. For this position.
5,000 Jaffa.
I mean, the Black Cauldron planet does support life.
Okay. Well, we're going to figure out, because I'm certain that the free Jaffa are going to want to help in some way. So we're not.
We have a day.
Right. We'll say when we contact Babe, right? Don't get ready to pull the trigger, but just start getting real numbers involved, figuring out what might be a good potential plan. Don't involve anyone yet if you can help it.
He's basically implied that at the end of the day tomorrow, when Babe leaves, it'll only be him from that point.
Right.
I can come back.
Okay.
But if I come back, I'm going to bring them with me. So contact me when you're ready, and then we will make plans to come back and free our people.
Will you be on planet that we are already going to for communication?
I will be traveling with her unless she sends me otherwise.
Understood. We will be going there for communication message, and I believe that will give us opportunity to communicate.
If mundane opportunities do not present themselves, I may be able to pass along a message without being detected.
One last question that I have for him before we leave with Omari is, it's 4 hours from the base to the gate. There is no way that we're walking 5,000 people without being noticed.
Sand skip.
So does he have any idea on his own before we even get involved of how to move that many people discreetly and or quickly?
I will give it some thought. with the troops at my disposal, we can take a ship.
That I was going to offer a suggestion. If you can put them on training exercises elsewhere, we can put them somewhere. We can help you take over a ship and take command of it, and we can move it elsewhere. I think that's the most expedient way of doing it.
I will begin making plans, but take no action until I hear.
Thank you. We'll get back to you.
Okay. So him and the honor guard will basically start leaving. You guys can gate through with Omari. Ponder your next steps.
Yep. And Eris will take a lot of discussion with Omari because he actually knows her for the next debrief. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we will call it there now that you guys have some a plethora of options available to you.
Yeah, and we'll debrief Maurice in a Faraday cage.
It definitely had some interesting directions I wasn't expecting.
There were some
Like,
twists that I did not see.
I think there was all in all, we're expecting an outlet of help me with this because this option is bad for both of us, and maybe and scratch my back here. I think that was reasonable to expect, but not something. I think we were
something that just highlights how bad Babe is at planning and thinking.
I think we were expecting something that was going to be a little bit more like, no matter what we do, we're fucked. We're going this one, like, this could this possibly actually work to our advantage?
Is your horrible deal actually beneficial to us?
I'm still wondering who's the one who's going to fuck us in the ass, because there's going to be one in that group.
Absolutely. Someone's going to, absolutely we're going to get fucked somewhere, out of character, I know that. In character, this is exactly what we're about.
Oh, exactly. We already have one of the people that's going to fuck us with us.
You mean Morais?
Oh, that one's guaranteed, but I was more leaning towards, so what's Osiris got you doing over here? Weird that you're allowed to roam free.
Yeah, so one of those two is going to fuck us.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is.
Both.
But what I found most surprising, though, wasn't that someone was going to defect. I feel like that almost felt like that was going to be something we were going to run into. I didn't know who it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be like some child who's like, please save me from my Jaffa overlords, or some human, or some Jaffa. I had an outside inkling that it might be a first prime. I did not expect both first primes to jump on that same bandwagon.
Well, because I'm so nice.
Well, the important thing is Omari was a first prime and got demoted.
She technically has no station.
And, she's perhaps a little bit bitter about that.
Which is fair, but the question, and I know we're going to debrief her later, but there's so much question of are you really looking to join the free Jaffa? It just sounds like you're bitter that you didn't have a position, and when a position will be available to you, you'll just jump ship again to be a first prime again, right?
Oh, yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah, there's so many.
Didn't you see that SG1 when with the mother?
Yep.
I'll work with the Tori. Oh, now that a better offer's on the table, I'm going to take over the base.
Yeah,
always a possibility. But yes.
But she's not Gould, so she's less likely to be able to the base.
Yeah. She's got a symbiote, but she's a Jaffa, right? So she doesn't have the doesn't have the full-on crazy powers.
Right.
And if we deposit her with the free Jaffa, they're way more likely to be able to deal with her than we are.
Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
Hey, Omari, it's time for your 10:30 beatdown.
I'm just curious if she's going to try to put the moves on Ares when he tries to debrief her. So.
Literally.
But everybody can have we'll say 4 mission points.
That brings us some of us to level 5.
Yep.
I think it brings all of us to level 5. We should all have 20 now.
The people that get
any 20.
What level were we at the start of this? Because I might have not updated my sheet right. I had level 3 down.
You're level 4 when we started today.
Yeah.
We had 16 total mission points.
Right. I had that down, so I must have not.
So 16 total mission points is equal to level 4 because you start level 1 with 0.
Yeah.
Yep, and I have
way to get to level 5. And 16 plus 4 equals 20. So we are all technically level 5.
Yep.
Yeah, if we're keeping pace, yes.
Yeah.
Now,
I generally keep pace in games. It's just
I
easier.
figured, but I didn't put anything extra on because I didn't know what everyone got last time.
the only thing that happens as of now for every next mission point is we get to spend it on feats or on different things that you can buy. So we might have a combined total, but I can't say that we're all level 5. It'll be level 5 plus whatever you've purchased.
Yeah, the level 5 basically is the end of your training as whatever it is you are, a scientist or an engineer or whatever. So everybody will get their level 5, and I think level 5 it gives everybody attack specialist as well. So you pick a weapon and you do double the dice of damage with that weapon.
It gives us an extra point in proficiency bonus.
Yeah, your proficiency bonus goes up as well at 5. And then from this point on, as you guys earn mission points, you will spend them on specific feats. So this is where the classless leveling comes in, which is kind of why, 5 levels in 5 sessions is a very rapid character advancement, but I wanted to make sure that we got to that point where you guys got to do the classless leveling, because I think that's where the game really kind of opens up.
Well, I think that's twofold. Yes, for us, but two, part of this is also your experiment, right? You want to see how it works.
That absolutely.
So are we all rolling hit dice at this point? Okay, so let me go back and roll our hit dice. So that's 1d10 for me.
Yep.
Ooh, I like Casual Genius. At 5th level, you begin each mission with a number of Eureka points to your proficiency bonus, half your proficiency bonus.
I get to add my wisdom modifier to damage I heal with a medkit, and I can use a medkit to heal scuff team members as an action, not a short rest.
Oh, that's handy. Especially because as you start getting into Jaffa rebellions and the likelihood of needing to heal somebody goes up.
I was going to say that. For the moment, like in the last encounter, it wasn't a lot of gunfire, but that's not always the case.
No, yeah!
Oh,
I cannot ask for better.
Right, because you had to do level 4.
Yeah.
Well, he had to do level 4 and level 5.
Oh, nice. You have more hit points than I do now?
I am at 54.
Oh, almost.
Well, that almost makes up for the average rolls the rest of the game.
Almost.
Trying to figure out what discovery I take. Was that rolling for health?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. What the heck do I roll for that? one moment.
D8.
It was nice to be a social game, so I didn't miss my ability to heal myself as a bonus action.
What an interesting power at level 5.
6. I get 6 health plus my con bonus. So I get 8.
I can have 2 tactics in effect at the same time.
Yep.
What is our proficiency bonus at level 5?
+3.
All right, and that should automatically up. Yep, it updated things.
Oh, that's handy for Ares. The first science to spend a Eureka point for advantage on charisma checks.
Does determination or anything change?
Your determination is your class bonus plus your proficiency, so your determination will also go up by 1.
So from 4 to 5?
Yep.
Yeah, when I changed my level, mine went up to 5 available, but not my max, because I had to manually change it.
Yeah.
Mine didn't change at all, so I'm trying to figure out what discovery I go with.
Perfect. Alrighty, so we will see everybody next week to figure out what you guys are going to do with this various sort of messes that have been given to you.
Oh my god.
Well,